What's going on, everyone? This is the Kyle and Tim podcast, the soon-to-be biggest podcast in Montana. They had Ryan Gardent today, a old-time Bostonian, moved to Bozeman transplant. They talked about everything from Christ to plastic bottles to Ryan's Subaru and how he needs to get rid of his Crocs. I don't know what else. What did we talk about, boys? Save me here.
Testosterone.
And the lack thereof.
I think that was about it.
That's it. So it was an incredible podcast. I'm so glad I got to be on it. I can't wait to be on the next one. Next time, though, I'm asking them questions because I like doing that kind of shit. So
We can do that.
hope you guys enjoy and have a wonderful day. Love you all. Bye.
Enjoy, folks.
All right, let's rock.
Let's rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
Tell us about yourself, man. So,
Ryan, where are you from?
Originally from Boston, Massachusetts, town of Sudbury, 40 minutes west of Boston.
Okay.
Been out in Montana for 4 years now. October 15th is the anniversary. And I was a BC transplant, so before COVID. And before that, lived in Wyoming. I worked on a dude ranch, kind of a guest ranch deal, nothing like Yellowstone. People are seeing, take care of guests. They pay money to be there. Was out there 2018 and put a finger on a map and moved out to Bozeman. So lived in Livingston for 2 weeks.
okay.
And October, it was snowing at the time. And so I did the pass maybe twice, and I was in construction. And I was like, no way I'm doing this. I cannot live here. So I called the landlord, asked him if he had an opening, and he did, and made the move to Bozeman. So
Okay. From
Yeah.
Livingston, yeah. Because you want to do the pass.
didn't want to do the pass. Too
Okay.
many accidents on day one.
Mm.
I'm all set.
Yeah, I got you.
Where in
Oh.
Wyoming were you?
Jackson,
Okay.
the Las Vegas of Wyoming.
I was gonna say, so kind of ski town.
Yep, kind of ski town. It was really cool. Really cool.
How long were you there?
Just a season. So it was, I think, from April till September. And like any man, you want to do either, you want to do kind of the manly thing. So I wanted to be in the military for a while. And then when that didn't work out, doing the cowboy thing.
Okay.
But cowboys have two problems: no money and broken backs. So
Yeah.
I wrapped that up, and it was an absolute no for me.
Okay. So cowboy for one season, it was fun,
It was cool.
but you're glad you did it, but we're going to make a career out of being a broke
Yeah.
cowboy that has a hurt back.
Yeah, and to be honest, like I'm terrible on a horse.
Okay.
I'm really bad.
Tough
But
to be a cowboy then.
it's tough. It's tough. You can't mess around, and accidents happen. I mean, I remember I was seeing a girl at the time there, and I saw her get bucked off, and she went headfirst to the ground, and I was like, "Fuck this! Like, I think I'm done riding." And I rode later on, but it wasn't. It's just big accidents happen. You can get wrecked and never come back from it. And I enjoy living a full life and doing all the things I like doing. So, just wasn't worth the squeeze type
Hey.
deal.
I get it.
Yeah. What about you guys? Where are you guys from?
You gotta listen to our
know,
episodes,
yeah.
man. This is your interview.
Hey, bro.
I hate
This is not an interview about Tim, bro.
No.
No, this is a one-way show, bro.
Oh shit. All right.
No, well, let's back way up. What was it like growing up in Boston?
Growing up in Boston, I came from a posh town. It's like a British word for wealthy and
Yeah.
rich. It was a really nice town, but my family was definitely middle class growing up. I remember looking around, and you're kind of seeing all the kids with the fancy stuff, the new things, the big house. And my family grew up on a quote unquote ranch style house, one floor, mom, dad, brother, 4 people to 1 bathroom. And it was just, normal, humble beginnings. And it was cool. There was woods everywhere. Swamp down low. There was a couple of hills that I would hike as a kid with my buddies all the time, but it was nothing major, just the average American life.
Brothers older or younger?
Younger.
Okay.
Younger.
How much younger?
4 years.
Okay.
Yep. 4 years. He lives out here now. I brought him out here, and he lives above me in my duplex.
Oh, so he lives in
nice.
Bozeman. All
Yep.
right.
Yep. So
How long ago did he get here?
2 years. Not, yeah. Or he was a year after me. So maybe he's been here for 3 years.
Got
I've
it.
lost track of time now. So
Nice.
yeah.
What's up with people moving here and migrating their families here?
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know what
Weird.
it is.
We've done the same thing.
People like it.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I think the exploration is the cool part. I think everyone wants to do the
Sure.
manifest destiny type deal and haul ass out west. And
Yeah.
with COVID, it just tripled that.
Makes sense.
So
It's attractive.
So what'd you do growing up? Sports? What was you Red Sox fan?
oh boy,
Patriots
I
fan?
hate sports. I'm a Tom Brady fan.
Okay.
For who he is, but I'm not into football. All the men in my family except my brother and I played hockey, so Bruins hockey was a big deal. Man, to be honest, I didn't play sports for the longest time. Up until middle school, like I was bullied all the time, so I really wasn't a social person. And I got into the video games and was just locked in.
How old are you?
I'm 30.
Okay.
30 now, yeah. So this is middle school into high school. I really just didn't get out, and my dad came down.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you're of the age that like video games would suck you in.
Yeah, just totally locked in. And my dad gave me the talk and was like, you need to socialize and get into sports. So he's like, I don't care which one you do, just pick one.
Mhm.
And I picked men's volleyball. And for those that are looking for a sport, it is one of the best sports any guy can do. It's so much fun, such a team effort. And, when you're doing JV, there's no consequences. So you can kind of just dick around and have fun and play with the boys. So did volleyball. What else did I do? I did track, ran 1 mile on tryouts. The coach said, you don't belong here at all.
Okay.
The throwing coach came up to me and said, do you want to lift and throw rocks? And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. So I got into throwing.
Okay.
That was fun. And then
Like shot put,
javelin. The hammer is not a Massachusetts sport for whatever the chain on the end of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's illegal. It's just not they don't do it.
Okay.
You can't compete in it. So do shot put, through jav, loved it. And then
How far can you throw a javelin?
I don't know.
Back in the day.
I don't know.
Well, you did it.
I don't remember. I have
Like
a shit memory.
10 yards, 50 yards. Give me a guess.
Maybe 20 yards.
Okay.
I was awful. I was terrible.
Okay. Shot. How far could you throw that thing?
I don't even know. Like I had no.
You like 3 spins and then chuck that thing.
No, you actually
Right? You like put it up against your shoulder, right?
You can do it up against your shoulder and do the turn. But what I was taught is you're supposed to face the opposite direction. I wish I could stand up and show you guys. But
Stand up and show us.
is this long?
Take your headphones off.
You can take the headphones off. First demonstration.
Watch the show.
Okay, so you want to throw the ball this way, towards the camera. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
It was so confusing.
It seems awkward.
I can barely walk as it is. So it was tough to learn.
So you weren't winning state championships
Not at all.
at shot put?
Not at all. And then after shot put, I knew it would never be a career. I got into wrestling and did that for 1 year. Loved it, but grades tanked. My eating tanked. It was just a miserable time. Wrestling is no joke. And
Do you think is that because of all the weight cutting and everything?
all the weight cutting, and I wasn't even cutting that much. It's just I struggled in school. So my mind was already wasted then. I would go to wrestling till 7. And then it's like, oh, do homework.
Yeah, you're not going to do homework then.
I'm drained. So I did it. I'm so glad I did do it. I will force all my kids, male or female, to do it. They will have to try wrestling once for sure. Yeah. Okay. You grow so much from it. So yeah, it was great. And then the college I went to wanted me to compete and go collegiate. It wasn't like D1 at all. It's a D3 school, but they did ask. I think they were looking for people, and I said absolutely not. I'll never go back to it. So
okay,
yeah, it was a good time.
I know a good jiu-jitsu gym in town if you want to get back into it.
You do? I did jiu-jitsu for a while.
Yeah, the one Mike trains at. He hasn't tried to get you to train there yet?
No.
Oh.
But I trained back home. I got after wrestling and going into college, I got into jiu-jitsu because I liked the physical aspect of it. But with jiu-jitsu, you can kind of choose your weight class and like pick your poison on how, who you're going to go against if you do compete. And I loved it. Jiu-jitsu was great.
Yeah, that's how I know Mike.
No, I know that's how you know it, but he keeps dragging me into jiu-jitsu. I'm like, no, I'm not going back.
Okay.
I might, but I don't know.
That's what I'm trying to get you to do.
I know. This is brainwashing going on right here. I can tell.
It's fun,
So-
man. But don't do it if you don't want to.
I don't.
But you should do it.
The ACL tears and all the ligament injuries scare me. That's the only thing.
Yeah, you just got to have safe training partners and
Yeah.
know who you're training with.
Do you do any other forms? Like you do jiu-jitsu? Do you do the kickboxing or anything like
I
that?
did a little bit of Muay Thai, but it was mainly bag stuff, some light sparring, but not
Yeah.
really because I'm like I really try to veer away from any more head trauma because I've
Yeah.
suffered enough in my life.
Yeah.
So
It's bad.
yeah, it's just like it's no joke.
I had an ice skating accident on like playing pond hockey. I slipped backwards and slammed my head, and for sure have not been the same since. It can really mess you up.
When was that?
That was in college, like senior year of college, and I definitely had a concussion, like all the signs of a concussion.
Yeah.
And just like laid out and was like, oh, I'll be fine. And I still, maybe it's because I'm dyslexic, but I still spell because like backwards.
The whole
never
word.
was the whole, no, not the whole. That would be bad. No, it's like the A and the E, just things go backwards. I'm like, why
Interesting.
am I doing that? Like I never did that before. And that was a post
Interesting.
ice fall.
All right.
So
It'd been
who
awesome.
knows?
You wrote the whole word. I
I don't think I could if I tried.
Neither could I.
Yeah.
I want to hear you do it.
Not happening. So
What were your parents like growing up?
my mom was a preschool teacher.
Okay.
She worked at a preschool that became a camp in the summer. So she did a, like both and type deal. She was a preschool teacher and then she had her own gardening business. And my dad is in the leather business. And so he represents tanneries from around the world and then brings them. Massachusetts, for those who don't know, is a huge shoes headquarters. So Wolverine, Saucony, all of them, Timberland, Converse, they're all there. And so my dad would sell the leather, represent the tanneries,
Like
the raw goods to the companies, Coach, all that stuff. And he did that out of our garage. And I had great parents growing up. I didn't really know my dad growing up when I was young because he was always out working. But as the .com boom kind of happened and Amazon, people are ordering stuff online, his business took off and I think he could take more time with me. But yeah, I mean, it was, I had great parents. My mom was and still is a total hard ass. I mean, she's
from the East Coast.
She's from Jersey and they don't fuck around in Jersey. She and her grandfather, I was speaking to a friend about this today. Her grandfather came from Germany and he didn't mess around. She would always tell me, oh, my dad would line us up as kids if we swore and it was soap in the mouth type deal. You know how parents threaten you? And they're like,
I got it a few times.
did you really?
Yeah.
I was too scared.
Bar of soap in the mouth.
Oh my gosh. Did you get that?
I don't know if I got the soap, but I got like my pants pulled down on my ass spanked quite a few times.
I didn't get spanked, but I definitely got, my mom would drive. And if I talked back to her, which she hated, she would pull over on the side of the road, get out, open the back door, slap me and just say, you'll never do that again. Front seat, silent the whole ride. And she was right. She got it. She corrected it.
Yeah.
It's called tough love.
It is tough love, but she's always been like that. Like
we used to get the whack in the knee by driving.
Yeah. They let you
and we
know.
shut up pretty quick.
Do you have brothers, sisters?
Yeah, I have two older brothers.
Yeah, it'll do.
Yeah.
I mean, my brother and I fight all the time. So.
Or it was like,
hey, freaking out. They look behind the seat. That's when you know you're fucked. They're not even looking at the road anymore.
You reminded me of my buddies that I grew up with. His dad would get a wooden spoon out. They named it. They'd be like, Spoonie.
That's
Spoonie's coming. Just beat him with a spoon.
Is he Italian?
Not really.
No.
Yeah, maybe his father could. Yeah, his father probably was a little bit.
The problem was when you brought that wooden spoon out, like for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and you got scared too.
Yeah.
You
serving dinner.
Yeah.
It could mess you up. My dad would throw things. Love you, Dad. But he would
Where's your dad from?
He's from right outside of Boston.
Okay.
Yeah, in Massachusetts. So
your dad was working away from the house when you were younger, but then as a .com, he could do it out of the house, out of the garage, you said.
I think it's more of his success from it growing. He was able to, it just like the money started coming in.
Okay.
Like he was doing better.
Okay.
I mean, he would go to Korea, Italy, Pakistan.
Oh, wow.
He was in China all the time. And these weren't 1 week stints. These were like 2 weeks in a row, just gone. And I think it's tough for me, especially being out here in Montana. I hear a lot of guys, like they grew up with their dads teaching them how to like fix a truck or, work on the car. They've taught them. I didn't really learn anything from my dad. What I learned though was the hard work and why it mattered. I mean, my dad was relentless. 6 a.m. up, took a dump, 7 a.m. he's on the phone with China having a conversation. And while I'm going out to school, my dad is headed to all of his meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I come home from school. My dad would lift, like, I shit you not, routine every single day until I was 18. He would come home, he would work out, he would go to the store, cook my family dinner, walk with my mom, TV show, bed, routine.
Every day.
Years, every year. And it just worked out. He just figured it out. And he was, what I love now is like growing up, I don't want to say I didn't respect my dad, but we had a lot of tension growing up, as every man does.
Yeah, I think every boy has with their father, and every probably woman has with their girl has with their mom.
Yeah. And, but as I've gone more into a business mindset and wanting to be in business for myself, I've respected him more. And now we have a great relationship. I mean, we talk all the time. I call him up and it's wonderful. So yeah, crazy.
Cool. And so your mom, preschool teacher, gardening business. What kind of gardening business?
We'd pull, I don't even know. Anything.
Just like oddball stuff.
Okay. And it was definitely a way to make ends meet, but my mom was really smart with it. I mean, she knows every plant on the planet without a book. She points out, oh, that's fucking Daisy or whatever. And she just takes care of people's yards. Like, just like how you needed a dog sitter or a cat sitter or a babysitter, she takes care of people's gardens while they're gone.
Okay.
And so she would have clients that would fly.
It's actually a really smart business.
So smart. Because no one wants their shit to die.
Well, when you go on vacation and you're gone for 10 days or whatever, like it's a point of stress, at least for me when I go on vacation. So
yeah,
I've never thought about a garden sitter.
Yeah.
Even now, though, everyone wants to grow their own food. It's probably it'd be a genius business model right now.
Yeah,
because nobody wants to do the work, but they want the fruits of the work.
Yeah, she had some friends that had gardens too, and they would give like zucchini, cucumber, all that stuff, and got to
trade around.
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense.
So, yeah, Boston life.
What's your brother like?
My brother, oh my gosh, he's gonna kill me when he hears this. My brother, I love my brother. My brother's really cool.
When you start with "I love my brother," it means
my brother.
You don't actually love him.
No, no, I do love my brother. My brother and we live together, and we do not get along living together. We are way too driven to be in the same room. Like, it's kind of like competing and calling each other out. And then when we call each other out, we don't like what we hear, type thing. You could call it ego if you want. But that being said, we live separate now. All good. We went for a walk this morning and it was perfect. Like, we're all good. But my brother does HVAC, hardworking kid. And then he has his own dump trailer business, Hustle Haulers. Shout out to my brother. Quick plug.
Hustle Haulers.
Hustle Haulers.
Bozeman, if you need a dump trailer, Hustle Haulers.
Yep. So he gets a dump. He doesn't even rent out the dump trailer. He comes and picks up your trash, loads it in, and takes it away, or paints. He does everything. He really tries to diversify what he's doing with the clients. So yeah, he just started that out of thin air, and he loves doing it. I'm working with him tomorrow. Gonna work for a real estate agent and clean up the house that he needs. So
cool.
Nice. It's really cool. It's cool to start stuff out of nothing. I mean, quickly, I know we're interviewing me, but how'd you start your business? Where'd that idea come from?
I mean, I was Uber driving on the side, and I honestly just saw a need and a demand for it, specifically to Big Sky, because there's no Uber up there.
Yeah,
and there's a need.
Yeah, so, really cool.
Yeah.
Really, really cool.
Very random. I don't know where it's like. It's very far from the line of work stuff I usually do.
Yeah. And you're doing construction?
Yeah, carpentry.
Yep. And what do you do?
I manage construction projects.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to college?
Plymouth State. Go Panthers.
Where's Plymouth State?
Plymouth State is not in Plymouth, Massachusetts, as everyone says. They ask if it's near the coast. It's in the middle of New Hampshire, near Lake Winnipesaukee, Newfound Lake, Lake Squam, and it's on a mountainside. I think there's maybe 5,000 people that go to the school.
Small.
It was the only school that accepted me of the two I signed up for, Springfield College and Springfield, Mass.
That's 50% acceptance rate.
I know, it's good. That's good. It shows the smarts. And
it's a state college.
It's a state college.
Okay.
Yep. And yeah, I applied for it. I switched my major 4 times. So talk about I don't know what to do with my life.
When you're a kid, you don't know what to do with yourself. I'm 37. I'll be 38 in like 5 months. I don't know what to do with myself.
It's the best. There's so many options. There's so much time and so many options.
It's the best.
It's the best. You can switch
it is
it
cool.
Up.
Actually, yeah.
You can
change it a lot.
Look at that perspective.
Kyle, you're 37.
I can't believe it, but yeah.
Dude, you're going to be...
I feel like I'm like 24.
Do you really? That's amazing.
I feel pretty young. Yeah, I feel like I'm 30.
What do you think attributes to that? Like the young feeling?
I'm stupid.
Naivety.
Delusion.
Yeah, I mean, like, some of it's not good, right? Like that I don't... in some ways it's good, but some of it's like, oh, I have time to do that. But that's, do I have time to do that? Like, I better get my shit together if I want to do X, Y, and Z. So it's good to feel young, but at the same time, I guess in the last few years, I'm starting to recognize that this clock is ticking a little faster. But why are you interviewing me, bro? This is about you.
Well, I know it's about me, but I'm a big people person. And so I want to hear the perspectives of other people. I know it's like a back and forth here, but it's cool to hear from your perspective, because I told Tim here that I didn't want to do this interview until I was 30. It was a big thing for me because I wanted to hit 30, see how I felt, and like give that perspective. Because I think
that's awesome.
Every kid that's in their 20s thinks they're fucking wrapped up at 30. I don't know what it is. They're like, oh, I'm finished. I don't have the dream job, the dream girl, the dream house, the dream car. Who gives a fuck? You're going to do 30 again and be 60 and still have such a huge runway. You have such a huge runway.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I mean,
it's funny you say that because we talked about this.
I guess what the other thing is, like, the amount of information that you actually can learn between 20 to 25, 25 to 30, 30 to 35. You could do probably somebody.
Yeah.
If they're driven and smart and put their, heart into it. Like, you could do more in 5 years than you could do in the previous like 10 or 15.
For sure. I mean, it's the compound effect.
Yeah. You're just like, you're more savvy.
Yeah. But you have the knowledge. I mean, everything is hindsight 2020. You wish with what you knew now, you could do what you were doing then. It would be so much better, but you can't. And so you kind of have to use the stuff you have like for the future. It just is what it is type deal.
Well, yeah. And so if you think about it from a money standpoint, right?
Yep.
You could make more money, right? Let's just say you're 30. Let's just say somebody's 35.
Yeah.
They could make more money in 1 year than they made in the previous 10.
I know. Isn't that fucking nuts?
And you might work a lot less.
Yeah.
If you play your cards right and stuff like that. So I think but it's hard to think about that when you're younger, right? Because or at least for me, it was like, there were a handful of years that were, I probably thought about it too much, which is really painful.
Yeah.
But like, I was broke and I was not in a good place.
Yeah.
And I felt trapped. Mm-hmm. Right. But fast forward 5 more years, everything changed.
Yeah.
But that 5 years felt like a fucking eternity.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, I don't know if this is legal to say, but I had a tenant that was bad. I had a bad tenant who lived above me when I was renting
This is
out
Montana, man. You can say whatever you want.
I know, but she's crazy enough to come back after me. She was bad. She basically ran a brothel out of our top floor, like dudes coming in and out of the apartment all hours of the night. Eventually I was sick of her and I said, I need you to leave. And she threatened, and she was absolutely in the right on this. I thought I was in the right, but she threatened. She had a service animal that because I live in one side of the building and own it, thought that I could set rents at whatever I wanted. And I wasn't crazy. I just asked for pet rent because I didn't want my new place ruined.
Yeah.
Semi-broke. Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with this, but it was the idea of things lasting too long.
Yeah.
For 5 months, it was a back and forth. Like, I need you to leave. No, pay me more. I need you to leave. No, pay me. And it's this whole thing. And they're slamming upstairs and I remember a night I had to put headphones in just to go to bed because it was so loud having them stomp. Like, they knew what they were doing, it seemed.
Mm.
And whether it's financial or like a breakup in a relationship or a death in the family, whatever you have going on, it always seems like forever. Like, it seems like you'll never get out of that wave, but eventually you do. You either like succumb to it and life sucks, or you're like, okay, I'll make the next step and leap out of it. Yeah. So it's just
How did we get here? You asked me.
Well,
let's go back to how we got here.
I was talking about you when we last talked, and I was saying when I was approaching turning 30, I was very stressed out.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was the milestone of thinking I have to have accomplished X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And then that day it happened, I'm like, oh, yeah, nothing feel like.
And now, some of that's good, right? Like, some of that pressure, some of it is good, right?
If it's healthy. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, and I don't know where that line is, but some of it is like, hey, you should feel like you should do something about, because the clock is ticking.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like, I spent a bunch of years working really hard, but also fucking off really, really hard. And so, 28 came around and I was like, all right, I'm going to fuck off a little less. I still fucked off a lot, but a lot less. And then 29 less, and then 30 less.
Yeah. You tighten it up a little bit. It's becoming more mature for sure. Would you say that?
Yeah. And your values are changing, and they're changing on the fly, right? Like, when I was 25, it was important for me to go to the bar.
Yeah.
Like, I needed to go, like, I wanted to go to the bars and go out and do all that stuff. Yeah. And then by the time, just 2 or 3 years later, it was less important.
Yeah.
And then 2 or 3 years later, it was less important.
Yeah.
So your values are changing on the fly. You are maturing.
Yeah. I've got a story for you guys, because this goes into the maturing and making life decisions to improve. So when I lived in Wyoming, I was seeing a gal out there having a good time. It's basically like Love Island or Below Deck, but you're on a ranch type deal. So everyone's just packed in and people are falling in love left and right. And she says, do you want to go?
Because you guys are literally like bunkered together.
I mean, it's separate, male and female, but
you're in a dorm.
For sure. Yeah.
On a ranch.
They're right down the street. Do you want to go dancing? Do you want to booze? Yeah. Like, it is the mood all the time.
And you've been on a ranch all day. Why would you not want to go dancing and booze?
Exactly. And especially in Jackson, such a like energetic town that it is, it's just fun to go out and let loose. So anyway, it's mid-season and she says, hey, do you want to go to the county fair? Now, Massachusetts has one fair, the Fairfield Fair. Never been to it, but I never grew up going to county fairs like they have out here. And I'm like, sure, let's go. And we're driving down there and she goes, have you ever been drunk on a ride? Sure haven't. Nope. So we go.
Sounds horrible.
It sounds terrible, and I'm already queasy on a roller coaster. Like, I almost throw up on every one of them. But of course, I'm an idiot. So I said, and this is 25. This is not like a year ago. This is 25. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So we both get a fifth of something. Park the car, toss the keys in the back, and start drinking. And we're just talking back and forth,
That
drinking.
sounds like a great time.
Oh my God. It was
Until you get on the ride.
Looking back, it was, I know, take it on the ride would have been a nightmare. But we're drinking back and forth. I think we finished the bottles and it's time to go to the ride. So we're walking, and I shit you not, it is a mile, not a mile, like 2 football fields distance, excuse me.
Okay.
2 football fields distance. And by football field 1, I'm hammered. I just feel it coming on. It's not a slow drunk. It is, oh my gosh, I can barely walk and see where I'm going. And so I tell her, I'm like, we need to sit down, and I just need to.
You've made it 100 yards.
I made it 100 yards. I need to sit down and take a breather here. We sit down in some guy's yard, and it's just black. Both of us black out. And I wake up with the cops in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never had that. Like, I'm a good kid. My mom always taught me, don't do anything wrong. Don't step out of line. I got the cops in front of me, light on me. She is passed out, and it's just looking bad. I have no clue where I am. And
Are her clothes on?
Did I turn this off?
No,
Okay. Clothes are on. No, we literally like sat down and like we're so drunk we just passed out.
Okay.
And so the cops are there, but she's not waking up. She is totally blacked out in this situation, gone. The cops arrest me.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets in an ambulance, or they put her in an ambulance, and she gets taken away. So I'm in jail. First time ever. I can't believe I'm telling the story. I'm in jail, and you can't leave. It's like a drunk tank. You can't leave until you sober up. You blow a 0.05. I remember it. And the entire night, they wake you up. You want to sleep, but they wake you up every hour, and they make you blow. And you're blowing it. 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. rolls around.
Wait, you were 0.05?
No, you have to blow a 0.05 for them to let you out.
For them to let you out. And so
they put you in the drunk tank.
They put you in the drunk tank. But I've never been there before. It's wild. Especially in Jackson on rodeo or fair night.
Oh, on the fair night, there's a bunch of people in there.
Yeah, it was packed. Some guy, he's in the corner rocking back and forth, talking to himself. I'm like, oh, this is how it ends. Like, I'm going to die here. This guy's going to...
Do you remember what you blew on the first?
No. It was... I honestly don't. It was bad, though. I mean, I was not coherent. So, I even threw up in the jail cell. That was embarrassing. That was so bad. I just could not make it to the toilet, into the drain. And so I blow a 0.05. And once I did that, they said, you're good to go. I go, well, can you guys drive me to my car? They look at you and they're like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, get out of our building. They don't help you.
They just put you out in the front, and you got to figure it out from there.
Yeah. And so
usually they give you a phone call. You're usually allowed to make a phone call so you can call somebody to come pick you up.
They did. Okay. They asked if I wanted the phone call, but I was like, who do I call? I'm alone out here.
Yeah. So
like
you didn't have anybody to call.
The one I'm with is in the hospital right now. This is a problem. Yeah. And I'm not calling the ranch manager to pick me up.
I got you. So you had nobody to call.
Nobody to call. So I said, give it to someone else. But the next morning I blow a 0.05. They kick me out and I have to run up. Jackson's a grid system. It's not like Boston where it's all like confusing roads. It's a grid. So I'm running up each street. Still, I don't want to say buzz, but I'm brutally hungover.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for my truck. And finally, after 45 minutes, I find it. I go to the one hospital that's in Jackson. And I go to the receptionist. I say the girl's name. This story will come back around. I say the girl's name and they're like, yeah, we ordered her taxi. I said, cancel it. I'm driving her home. It's all good. Well, she had 4 IVs that night, comes out like a spring chicken.
Yep.
No issues, no problems, smiling. She's like, where were you last night? I was like, in jail. Thanks. Like, this is great. And she drove me home. And if you've been on the Jackson Pass towards Yellowstone, there's like pullouts, every single pullout. I'm throwing it. Oh my God, it was bad. So to bring the story back around, after that situation, when you're in a sort of relationship with someone and you like them and big accidents happen, and like it's the same thing with the horses. Like, something can happen that's catastrophic and alters your life. I just told myself I can never be like this again. And so I didn't give up drinking, but since 2018, I've stopped drinking every day except Saturday. So today's Saturday, we're having a beer, we're enjoying a beer.
Cool.
But I have not stepped out of that, and it's been such a huge game changer of thinking clearly. Not that I was a drunk before making any mistakes, but some people I know are boozing hard before work.
Yeah.
Or the night before, and then
you're just lucky there's 52 Saturdays in a year.
I know. And it's fun. I like drinking. I enjoy it. I like wine. I like tequila. I like beer, Guinness. But you can't, if it becomes your life and you let it take over, like any vice, it will become a problem, and you have to mitigate it for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a good rule. 1 day a week.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
That probably works.
Yeah, that's
for
probably
you.
that's like really. I think that's really good.
And I picked Saturday because it's the one day everyone. I mean, I know there's Sunday night football, but everyone likes to drink, and on a Saturday you're going to the breweries. Everyone's going out. People want to get together. It's a social day. So
yeah, Saturday makes a lot of sense.
No.
Yeah, I mean, like anything. Well, so drinking is, super acceptable in our society, right? So that can make it, that can create problems, right? Because it's like, oh, well, I'm just having one, I'm just watching the game.
Yeah.
Well, which game? Which freaking night?
Yeah.
Monday night football, Tuesday night football, Wednesday night. There's, it's World Series, it's playoffs. It's like, at least in our country, right? It's like, it's constantly like playoff season.
Yeah.
It's just different. It just rotates sports, right?
For sure.
And so, if you have that excuse and you're like, well, I'm just watching my team play. Yeah. Well, you're watching your team play all the time.
And in Montana, there's no team. So you can watch every team play. You can't, you're like, I'm the Vikings guy. I'm the Cowboys.
Yeah. I remember I was about 30, or I was 30. And one of the hardest things for me to do was to try to go 30 days without drinking.
Really?
Yeah, because I was so used to socializing with drinking. Yeah. And I lived in a suburb that was like, everybody was like 30 years old, 25 to 35 years old. So it was super social. And like 4 or 5 nights a week, I was going out and meeting up with friends. And so then that became 4 or 5 nights of like, 1 or 2 beers. Yeah. Right. Well, then that catches up with you, right? Or can. And so it was super hard for me to say no 30 days in a row.
For sure.
But that was a really big deal for me to go 30 days when I was about that age, because I wanted to socialize so much.
And did you feel like it was a commitment, like they would judge you type deal?
No, I wanted to. You know what I mean? Like sure, yes, and right. Yeah. So yes.
Yeah.
Some people, right? Some people like that there wasn't a judgment.
Yeah.
But it was a habit, right? It's like, well, what do you do at a bar? You drink. And I was at a bar.
Okay.
So,
drink, gotta get it on.
Right. And so you're like, well, what do you do at a bar if you don't drink?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing there? And you kind of have to ask yourself, you do have to ask.
I feel weird.
I mean, you do have to ask yourself that question. What are you doing at a bar if you're not drinking?
I totally agree with you. But now after doing it for so long, like I'm there to be social with people I want to be around. Like I've never, after doing the 1 day, and I don't judge anyone that drinks any other day but Saturday or outside of Saturday, but I'm there for the friends and to connect and be integrated with the people.
You're like the opposite of a 7-day Adventist.
What's their rules?
Saturday's the day they go to church, and I think they don't do anything.
Just zone out.
I just know they go to church on Saturdays, and they won't work or won't do anything on Saturday.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. When I was in construction, I knew a lot of people in the LDS community, and that's huge on Sunday. They do not, like, everything stops. They don't shop. They don't do anything. And it's just a wild belief system. I respect it, but they don't mess around at all.
What were you doing in construction?
Labor
Okay.
Boy, simple stuff. So when I moved out here, I found I lived my life or operated my life out of Craigslist. So I found my apartment out of Craigslist. I found my job out of Craigslist, and I found a roommate out of Craigslist.
So not Facebook Marketplace. You were a Craigslist guy.
I'm a Craigslist guy.
It's the best. There's always good stuff there. If you can find the right thing, like
you found Mike.
I found the place I live.
Yeah.
Wait, you found Mike?
No, different Mike.
Oh, okay.
Mike. Not that Mike.
Different Mike.
Okay, different Mike. I was like, dang. Found him.
Which led him to his job now.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm sure you can do the same thing on Facebook.
Yeah.
for sure.
I'm just not a Facebook guy. So
Do you have social media?
No.
No, I don't either.
Yeah. I have. It's so funny. I do have a Facebook account that has nothing on it, no friends, and every friend request I've gotten a suggestion I've denied, but I only have it so I can use Facebook Marketplace.
Facebook Marketplace is superior to Craigslist.
Yeah, it is now. It is now.
Yeah.
It wasn't always.
Yeah.
Craigslist used to be the thing.
Yeah. It used to be.
They got good stuff on there. My brother will send stuff to me and he's like, do you want this? I'll message the guy. So he operates the Facebook for me.
Well, it was getting to be annoying. My sister would look on Facebook and message people, and I'm like, all right, I'll make an account, and I don't use it for anything. I've never used it for anything other than Facebook Marketplace.
Do people argue with you? Because do you have a picture on it?
No. And I just bought something.
It's
I literally
a little suspect.
I know, that's what I was just saying this. I'm like, I'm that guy that has no friends and no picture.
Yeah.
But I just bought something. Just bought an SUV that I found on Facebook Marketplace.
Really?
Yeah.
For the business?
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
that's a good deal.
But I didn't even think about that. I guess it wouldn't be terrible to put one picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's jump around again.
Okay.
So let's go back to college.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
What did you? What were your majors?
What were the four majors?
And what did you get your degree in?
Okay, the four majors. Yeah, we went off. I went off.
What was the first one?
The first one was kinesiology. Thought I wanted to do the gym thing, and I sat in a study hall with about 75 other students, and it was a test on the second day. She's like, I'm hoping you guys study because we have a test on the skeletal system.
Study what?
Whatever.
Second day.
I think they had books that were sent out for the kids
over the summer
that I did not pick up. And I just knew I wasn't going to build a connection with the teacher. So I dipped out. I was like,
on the second day.
Second day.
Okay. So new major,
second day, done. Didn't know what communications was, but I heard
that's fucking commitment right there, bro.
That's good, but it's good if you know that early. It's good.
Yeah,
good on you for not wasting time.
I mean, you're.
I just
worked out.
Yeah, I didn't want to go to college anyway. It was something my family wanted.
I only went for one day, so that's what I'm saying.
No
good
way.
job for the second day.
Yeah, I made it all 3 years. Dude, you actually dipped out
one day.
What?
He was in the class. He was looking around.
Hometown.
He was looking around. He goes, "These fucking losers! I'm out of here."
I literally sat there. I was like, "No way!" Like it's like absolutely no way. I'm getting as much money back as I can. And then I left the state and moved, which is just a long another story. But I just knew I sat through 4 classes in one day. And I was like, absolutely not.
Was it the professor?
Was it all the above?
Weren't there any, like, gotta be some hot chicks in there?
Yeah, but it was.
You're like, what's up?
I was like, no.
Couldn't even.
Like it took all I had to sit through all 4 classes.
He looked at the textbook and saw 200 pages. Is like, done, checked out.
Yeah,
he was trying to spell because correctly.
So I went into communications. I don't know why. I heard other students, and this is prior, and then also like seniors talking about that they liked communications. Like it was a good major. I even researched it, looked it up. Went into communications, had no clue what I was going to do in it. I enjoyed the class. Don't remember a fucking thing about it, and dipped out. Like I knew there was no.
You went to one class again? Or you went through the whole semester?
I think I was in a semester because you do your prerequisites alongside of it. So I was getting the freshman stuff done, did some communication classes, liked it, but I didn't know what I was going to do with it. And I was like, it's probably dumb being here. So I should do something I'm more interested in. And so I went into the business route thinking I would start my own business. And I took a class. Shout out to Terry Doucher, best business professor of all time. She like rocked the class, and it was just basics, but she made you be inspired to start your own thing and like learn about it and get motivated through it. But then it just declined after that. Microeconomics, macroeconomics. She looked at me and said, "Dude, I failed stats."
I want to make sure I understand how this works at your college. So you're like, there would be like a professor that teaches a major.
No, you have like the basic business
Yeah.
class and she would teach it. But she was the first one I ran into and she was the nicest and got me pumped up.
Yeah, but when did the macro, like somebody else taught macroeconomics?
So, yes. So
Okay.
I take her class and I'm taking stats at the same time.
Yeah.
And I fail it. I failed stats
Yeah.
3 times. And she basically pulled me aside. I failed stats 3 times. I failed business law. Terrible student.
Okay.
Terry.
Failed or D's or what?
Failed. Big F.
Like, not you were trying.
I can't do math.
Okay.
Addition, subtraction, multiplication. Like,
okay, that's just not your brain.
I'm a dumbass. Terrible at school. Dumbass.
You're just not good at that subject.
Exactly.
Right.
But there's no, when you know the whole thing of like you ask the teacher like, when am I going to use this? And they said probably never.
Yeah, that's a problem when they say that.
That's a problem. And so Terry pulls me aside. She's like, I need to have you in for a meeting. And I was like, okay. And I go in and she's like, Ryan, you failed stats. I'm like, how'd you know this? She's like, I talked to them. She goes, if you failed stats, you will never pass this degree. Like, you either need to figure it out or go somewhere else. And so I just dipped again, like zero commitment, dipped out. And
you tried stats 3 times.
I tried stats.
It's not like you didn't try it.
I did pass it. C minus, needed a C plus. Crazy side story. I begged the professor. I went to a community college to like take the stats class again. I had a C minus and I needed a C plus to graduate. So I did stats freshman year and then took it senior year to graduate. And I begged him. I said, I need you to make this a C plus. I don't know if is that illegal for professors?
Whatever, dude. Who cares?
Okay. I asked for the C plus. He gives it to me.
I mean, you're the one paying them.
I'm paying them.
You know?
3 weeks later, the guy croaks. He was like 90 years old.
Did he give you the C plus?
Gave me the C plus.
What was his name?
I don't remember.
Dude, bro, this guy's important. How do you not remember his name? Hey,
I can get
shout out to fucking old boy.
Oh boy. He came in. He was so geriatric. I was like, if this guy passes out in our class, that's going to be.
You should have just grabbed his little grade book and changed the grades.
He gave it to me. God bless him. It was huge.
God bless him.
God bless him. So yeah. And so,
dude, there's no witnesses. He died a couple weeks later. It's not like, I don't know how I got a C plus, but I got a C plus.
I'll give you this C plus if it's the last thing I do.
I was friends with this gal that was in the class with me, and she was a nursing student, or she was actually a nurse. She was just taking the extra classes, and she messaged me. He's like, yo.
On AIM?
Old man. No, like through texting. The normal way.
I guess you're 7 years younger than me, so that makes sense.
I did have AIM back in the day.
Yeah.
In the day. It was a good time. But she was a nurse, and she messaged me and was like, yo, Gramps is in the hospital right now. I'm working on him. And then a couple of weeks later, done. So it wasn't a good look. So, all these failed classes, not sure what I wanted to do. And meeting up and seeing this group called the Adventure Ed students was a massive mindset change for me. So Plymouth State and Colorado University, one of them, are the only 2 in the country that promote this major. And it's called Adventure Education. And it's basically, NOLS, the National Outdoor Leadership School.
I don't.
You don't? Okay. Quick thing on it. It's basically, how about Outward Bound? You know Outward Bound?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Basically the same thing, except NOLS, National Outdoor Leadership School, teaches those people and like makes them outdoor leaders for guiding, all that. So a lot of the kids in my program go and become that. I saw that as an avenue for becoming a better leader and a better speaker and being in front of people. And so that was the major I settled on. It was probably 50-50 in class and 50 out, outside, 50% outside. We have a whole semester called the immersion semester, and you're not home at all. You're backpacking the whole time. Rock climbing, backpacking. You have a 2-week canoe trip in Maine, and it was a great major. I loved it. And that's what I graduated with. Finally, I settled on it and made it happen. But it was a lot of life growth that came from it
Sure.
type deal.
Start to finish, how long were you in college?
4 years.
Oh, to change your major 4 times and
I made it through.
still get out in 4 years. That's great.
Yeah. I packed all the changes at the freshman and sophomore year. I think midway sophomore year, I made the change to outdoor education. So did it quick.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what's your degree in?
Outdoor adventure education specifically. So
that's a cool degree.
I don't use any of it. For anyone that's worried about using the degree, you don't really need one to survive.
I mean, I think, but I would say like you use things that you learned while you were doing it.
For sure.
Like you'd said that you tried communications, right?
Yeah.
Well, you ultimately learned how to speak better and communicate better through the other major. So you kind of learn communications in a different way.
Yeah. And they during the immersion semester, you're picked as, I don't want to say squad leader, that sounds militaristic, but you're the team lead. And so you have to wake up, have the map ready, have like everything set up, where you're eating, where you're stopping, breaks, all that. And you have to plan out where you're bringing your team in your middle of nowhere. There's no communication with anyone.
There's a lot of skills there.
It's so much. And you're in a panic. I remember waking up at 5 because I was so nervous I was going to sleep. And I wake up at 5 and I'm shaking the instructor. I'm like, can you wake up and like look over my stuff? And he's like, no, like you either planned for it or you didn't. And he did take a look at the map and tell me, we're probably going the wrong way. You should change it up a little bit. But you're just nervous. You want to get it right. You don't want anyone to get hurt or get screwed up. And so it is a lot of growth in one spot. And it was definitely not a mental challenge, but there's a lot of hippies in the program.
Yeah.
A lot of Ben and Jerry's eating outdoor Vermont people. And I wasn't raised like that. And so you get used to a different type of thinking, being in your space all the time for weeks on end in the woods, which, it'll make you think different. I think you hear their perspective.
Yeah. You got exposed to all these new types of people.
People that don't take showers.
Let me tell you something. After 2 weeks
those are the cool
of the ladies not shaving their legs, it's cactus season out there. It is wild. They're just in shorts.
Did you ride any of those cactuses?
No, we don't ride cactuses out there. Let's we keep it respectful, but you're just like,
I know that was a thing out there.
No, but it's like, you're just gross. Everyone smells. You're grungy. Everyone's exhausted. You've been hiking forever, and
I'm gonna look up a phone number right now because this reminds me of a buddy of mine.
Boy, we're gonna have a caller. Caller number
He had
12.
he created his own major. He was the first person to do that at my college.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to Chico State University.
Chico. What about you, Tim?
I didn't go. Other than my one day.
Oh, but where was it?
It was in upstate New York, where I grew up.
You're from upstate?
Yeah. Fellow East Coaster.
Rochester?
Not that far. No, that's more like Western New York. Fuck. Like near Albany, eastern side of the state.
Dude, there is...
Not far from Mass.
There is nothing in Albany. That is the worst place of all time.
Yeah, there really isn't. I spent little to no time there.
Yeah.
Like an hour south of Albany, but Albany is just a reference. Okay.
Yeah, Albany is... I visited... 2 of my friends dated and married, dated in high school and now are married. And one of them, he was in the military. So he was at Fort Drum in upstate New York. And I took his girlfriend to meet him in Albany. We're like, where can we meet in the center? Let's go to Albany. There was nothing to do at all. We walked the entire day and then found a mac and cheese eating contest, or not eating contest, but cook off at one of the colleges there. I think it was the same college, but
so it's boring as hell.
There's just nothing there.
Yeah, it's just, it's a lot of small towns and farm country.
But you think for the capital of New York, it'd be bumping, but all the money goes to NYC. So,
right.
But yeah.
Yep. Did you find your buddy?
I don't remember what his last name was, but his first name was Max. He was a super cool guy.
Ryan thought we were calling in. We were going to have a caller on the show.
No.
They've been great.
Super cool guy, super talented, very, very talented soccer player.
And what was the major he started?
He wrote a paper wrote a paper that got basically approved by like the dean of the school to do his own major, and so he created his own curriculum, and it was all outdoor education based.
Really?
And so, yeah, I mean, he basically created the major that you're talking about.
Yeah,
but for himself.
That's crazy. Got a degree, got away with it. Wow,
Yeah.
that's freaking nuts.
Have you not been? You're not in contact with
No,
him?
I haven't talked to Max. And shout out to Max. I don't forget your last name, Max, but it's been 15 years or so.
Yep.
Whatever.
Are you noticing as you're getting older the change of friends that are coming in and out of your lives type deal? Like, are you seeing more of that, or are you trying to bring more people into your world? Like that's the thing that I've been curious about lately. Is I've got my core group from back home, but I'm noticing the sea change that is happening with the people I'm around as I get older, and I don't know if it's like not accepting bullshit.
Don't be asking me questions. What's changing?
No, well, I'm asking you because I'm experiencing it for myself, so it's more of a self-reflection.
Well, what's changing with the people that are coming in and out of your life, or you're spending more time with or less time with?
You see, I'd almost ask you, is your focus in life changing a lot?
Say again.
Is your focus in life a lot different?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's why I'd imagine when if you're more focused on work. I mean, there's a point in my life where I was very focused not that long ago and obsessed with jujitsu and martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the people I spent all my time with.
For sure.
And even outside the gym, usually, hey, what are you doing? Because for one half of the day, there's not a class and we're not. So, but now as I focus more on work and a career, it's more with a different group of people for that reason.
For sure.
Just kind of my focus is different. So
you have to, it is so, life is just too short to be hanging out with, I don't want to say average people, but people that just don't want to grow and do big things or achieve different stuff. And it doesn't have to be financially, it doesn't have to be your career, but it's, you don't want bullshitters in your life. And there's a ton of them out there. I mean, you run into them all the time, especially in this town. I mean, I've run into people that I'm just like, what the fuck is coming out of your mouth? Probably including me right now, but you gotta be careful of it. And so I've been so tactical, especially after turning 30, which was only a month ago. Just, okay, is this person with me going to put the needle vertical, or are they going to put it horizontal? And if they're putting it horizontal, it's probably
it depends on what needle you're talking about.
It does depend on the needle, because I have, and both of you have been to the Bozeman Investors Club. Like, those people put the needle up in the finance and investing space and the growth space. But I have the people that I spend time around that are more recreationalists, that we don't hang out on the side. It's like we go for runs and runs only. And that's like,
you spend your recreation time with them.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't.
So they're moving that needle.
They're definitely moving that needle. And so I'm particular about those people. I just don't have time anymore to have someone be like, hey, I just want to chill. I just want to hang out. And it's good for every once in a while. There's a time and the place, usually the 4th of July. But other than that, it's like, other than that, I just don't want to.
When you want to go to the county fair?
Yeah, exactly. When I want to go to the county fair.
Unless this is the 4th of July party or New Year's party, I'm not just chilling.
Yeah. I just don't want to relax. I want to do big things, accomplish stuff.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask you, what do you want to do?
There's so many things. Can I do a deep dive?
You can do a deep dive. You can pick a top 3, whatever you want.
I'm gonna do a deep dive of something I've been mulling in since I turned 30. Now, this is all happening so quick, and this is all change of perspectives. But when you're trying to get a business off the ground and you're working all the time, I have a business on the side. I work a full-time job, and then I work a second job at night. And so you're going all the time, and trying to find the work-life balance, as people talk about. I don't believe in it. I think it's bullshit. Shout out to Jeff Bezos. He came up with work-life harmony. Mm-hmm. And I think that's more real. I mean, I need maybe a 5-hour stint on the weekends to feel refreshed and ready to go for the next week. I don't need 2 full days. And so I've been weighing this back and forth of, how do I balance the work and my life? Like, I don't even know what I want to do with my life or what I want to experience or go through. But But for me, a lot of things that work in my life are systems, and building systems and parameters and guidelines, just like the drinking one day a week, like building something that forces me to act a certain way. Because you can build habits, but building structure in a system, I think, is before the habit, and the habit's just what happens after it. And so recently I decided to come up with this concept called tech quarters, and spell it out TECH. Can spell that, not because I can spell that. And it stands for travel, experience, challenge, and health. And it's this new thing that I'm implementing to make sure and force that.
And it's in quarters.
It's in quarters, January,
It's in a
February,
block.
March.
Oh, quarters like that. I thought you meant like a block, like tech. What was it? It was
travel, experience, challenge, and health.
Okay.
And so it's in the quarters in the calendar year. Each quarter, I have to complete this thing called tech. And with it is I have to travel somewhere new I've never been before. And that doesn't have to be a new country. It can be a new state. It can be a new county. I can go to Whitefish, whatever.
Yeah, okay. Just a new place.
A new place I've never been before.
Could be 2 hours away.
2 hours away, but I'm going to see it. One of them was Red Lodge. I missed it this year. I wanted to do Beartooth Paths, go through that whole area. So there's the travel aspect, and then experiencing something new. And I got the experience part from one of the influencers, a big dog, Jesse Eitzler. If you don't know who he is, he's all over the web. He's an entrepreneur, he didn't start NetJets, Marquee Jet, and then Zico Coconut Water. And he now, going into his 50s, is big on experiencing life and doing things that time can't take away. And so in being immersed into what he's speaking, I threw that up there as a thing of like, I need to try as many different things as I can within my life, so that if I croak at 50, God forbid, or if I croak at 70, like I've done a bunch of stuff prior to that time can't take away. So the experience is snowmobiling, caving, I don't know, scuba diving,
all kinds of things.
There's tons of different stuff. So that's cool. And then C is challenge. I have been jacked up the past 2 years just doing different challenges, CrossFit competitions, half marathons, full marathon, doing something physical. And it can be a big hike, Granite Peak for what, all I care. Doing something that's just a physical challenge that kind of gets me out of the comfort zone. And then health is, for all the self-care people out there, a full health day. So for the entire day, I just do health-oriented stuff: sauna, cold plunge, yoga.
You do that
How
often?
I try to pack it in once a quarter. It is a focused day that I'm doing this. Mm-hmm. Not worrying about work. I'll probably take the day off, take a sick day. Sorry to my boss, but taking the time to not worry about anything else, not talking to anyone. It's just being in a more healthy state of mind, but for the whole day. Eating something healthy, yoga class, what have you. Get a massage. Making sure I'm taking that time to do it, because I think some people forget to do it.
For sure.
Is each one of these or you do a full day dedicated to each one, or just the health one, the full day?
Just the health one. I don't want to. I can take a massage any day of the week, but this is making sure that I'm doing it for an extended period of time.
It's kind of making sure that you actually do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that idea and that system is something I've implemented brand new. Tomorrow's the experience one. So I'm going with a group of friends. We're going to Butte, and I wanted to go on one of the underground mine tours.
Yep.
And that's what we're doing.
Fuck yeah.
And you're knocking out the travel one too, going to Butte.
I've been there too many times.
I've busted your chops. I know you said you got a property in Butte, right?
Yep. Got a duplex in Butte, but yeah.
What about, have you ever been a podcast guest?
No.
So first on time. The experience one.
Boom.
Look at that.
Knock it out.
2 in a weekend.
Knock it out.
Yeah.
Has anyone been on here that's been a previous podcast guest?
There's been a couple.
I think a few.
Yeah. Really cool. Yeah. Really cool. So yeah, just another system put in.
Systems.
Got a bunch of them.
Good.
Got a bunch of them.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So we'll see what that looks like after a couple years, just where I've been and what I want to do and how I set it up, I just committed to March going to Ghana.
Cool.
Which is going to be out of control.
Awesome.
Out of control. It's
how long are you going for?
We don't know yet. So the group that runs it is trying to plan the whole thing out. It's planned for March, but you fly. I didn't even know this is a 17-hour flight. I can't sit still for that long. So I'm going to have to go walk around or figure something out on the plane, do jumping jacks. But 17-hour flight, get to Ghana, and it's not building a school, but you're working at the school. And so they're trying to learn English and basic math, which I won't be teaching, as we found out. Grammar, the whole thing. They love soccer. And I'm just stoked to go there. It's going to be a wild experience. Middle of nowhere, 5 hours from the airport. We drive dirt road.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Have you been?
No, I've never been to Ghana. Never been to Africa.
Really? Tim?
No.
I
want to go to Egypt.
Really?
Pyramids.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I heard they're nuts.
What are you waiting on? You waiting on getting younger or what?
No, I have this thoughts pretty much arose in the last 48 hours. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
You should go.
I had a teacher that
have you read The Alchemist?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. You could do that whole journey, bro, from south of Spain to Morocco and all the way over to Egypt on a camel.
I started watching too much of the Graham Hancock stuff on Netflix.
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
Anyway,
shout out to Graham Hancock.
Continue.
Hey, Graham, if you want to come be on the podcast, bro.
Who's cool. Graham Hancock?
You gotta check him out.
Okay.
He's a guy that hard to I guess a little challenging to explain.
He studies ancient civilizations,
yeah,
and the possibility of them, and
there's ideas of like, well, humans only existed at this part of the world for this time period, and he's finding out, or he's trying to show that story of like, well, in this part of the world, people actually lived before that. And humans were there before that, and civilizations were there before that. We didn't know about it.
Yeah,
he's trying to prove that all around the world.
Yeah, he's been on Rogan, right? He's the one that does the scans, the LiDAR scans. Yep. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah,
it's freaking crazy, dude. I think there's so much stuff that we don't even know about that those guys were doing. Just civilizations.
I think we're finding out.
Yeah, slowly.
I mean, if you think about it, like, okay, so let's just take the history of the United States.
Very short.
Yeah, very short.
The white man version.
Sure, right? Yeah. So that's right. So let's take the history of the Anglo-Saxon, like people came from Europe, right?
Yeah.
So we started on the East Coast, right? Like our story started on the East Coast, right? Then there were natives all over the country, right? Different tribes.
Yep.
Been there for a long fucking time. And then there were Spanish on the West Coast, right?
Yeah.
So in California and Oregon, Washington, down into what's now Mexico, but that, and so they were there, been there for a long time before anybody from Europe had gotten there.
Yeah.
But you take our story, right? And so we've gone from the East Coast where we settled, Plymouth, right?
No, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, but like
Plymouth
Rock.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Bro, I know my fucking history. Okay?
Like, don't.
So then we moved. Then what we say is like, oh, we moved west, right? And we like settled the east and the west, and we came like into the center of the country, right?
Yeah.
How the hell is anybody going to say, well, they started over here and then they went over here? Like, how is anybody going to figure that out in 500 years? They're not. So why do we think that, well, this happened here and then it happened over here? How the hell does anybody know? It's just crazy to me to think that some of these things that we've like learned in history of like, how do you know that somebody started over here and then they walked north and then they walked south and then they walked west? Like how, what?
Well, there's all the like carbon dating that goes on. Like they can be like, oh, this person's bones has the same as the person over here. They probably walked this way type thing. To be honest, I don't know. I barely know how Elon can land on fucking Mars. Like, how do you do the math on that? All these like things that humans are trying to figure out. I feel like we try to make a I'm trying to think of the word to say. We rationalize things to make sense of them, but we don't really know.
Right.
We barely know what the ocean looks like down below, all mapped out.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just crazy that those moves happen, and the story of the Americas and how many people came through here and what it's settled as now.
Yeah.
Type thing. I don't know if that's where you were going with that, but
yeah, I guess what I'm getting at is like, I couldn't even tell you the sequence of events of what happened in my life 3 months ago. Right. So, and I was there,
yeah.
So it's like, well, did you go to the grocery store first, or did you go to the grocery store the third event in the day? I don't remember.
Yeah.
So I think, trying to go back 500 years and saying, well, this happened first and that happened second. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure I believe it.
It's the human story of how we got here.
This is my new fascination with the pyramids. They can't figure out with the technology we have today how they moved those stones. They've moved 80,000 stones that were 80,000 tons.
And they're directly under the stars.
Yeah, and they're like perfect due north, south, east, west.
And they have no mortar joints.
So I just think to sit there and look at them and let your mind try to comprehend something that our current technology has no idea how to comprehend is just mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
I just want to look at that and be so fascinated.
I mean, like I was in basically a year ago now. I'm going to pull up some photos.
Okay.
I was outside of Mexico City at some of the ancient ruins there, and it's just unreal, man. And they don't even know the civilization that built it. And that's like a recent thing that they admitted of like, well, the Aztecs were there, but the Aztecs didn't build it. Yeah. A previous civilization built all these ruins that are outside of Mexico City.
Have you seen the movie Apocalypto? Is that the one? That's like an old movie, but it's all in Spanish, but it's basically that story of the Aztecs and just like sun gods and sacrificing. And it's this guy's story about surviving all the other tribes he had to go through in South America. But that stuff is just nutsos. You're chopping people's hearts out with a dagger and throwing it in the sun.
So this is interesting. This is a recent excavation. This is like in the heart of Mexico City. So this is like downtown Mexico City. There's, big modern buildings all around.
Yeah.
And they started to go build. They were going to go build like a skyscraper. And they started to excavate. And then they found, oh shit, there's ruins down here.
Yeah.
The ruins are underneath, and next to this Catholic church. Right.
Holy shit.
And the Spanish brought Catholicism.
Yep.
And so they built a church and a whole city on top of these old ruins. And they just found this stuff like 5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. So they're still excavating all this.
You don't hear this in the news either.
And you can walk past it, right? So like I'm like in a walkway right here, and I'm just going to zoom in on this like snake that's, I don't know, at least 500 years old. And so there's this whole area that they're like excavating basically by hand.
Yeah.
Every day. And there's a small team of people.
That is fucking
And it's in the middle of the
nuts.
city. Like it's surrounded by modern buildings.
And it's the same type of like snake design as the Aztecs.
Well, there's like 50 of those snakes as you walk around that thing. And it's more than a city block. It's like multiple city blocks long, and they've only just started.
Are these modern? The steps? No. So they've been just digging this up. That is fucking crazy.
Well, and here's the other thing. Like let me like, how many times were those steps rebuilt and by who? Right? Meaning like somebody put the original steps in.
Yeah.
Probably 100, whatever, how fast the steps wear out. I don't know, depending on what kind of stone they use, right? But like somebody rebuilt them, right? And then somebody rebuilt them again, and somebody rebuilt them again, right? Yeah. So like, I don't know how many times they've been rebuilt.
That's fucking nuts. And this is forever ago. Because like you go to Europe and you see some of the stone stuff that survived World War II, like those are all hand done. There's no cranes, there's no nothing. And it's just crazy that humans made that stuff. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah, how did we get there?
Yeah, dude. So what'd you do after college? You're 22. You graduate.
22. I graduate, and I needed an internship. Didn't know what I wanted to do fully. In my mind, I had a little bit of the cowboy gene thought in my head. And I'd worked with my mom's preschool in the camps with kids with special needs. So kids with autism, Down syndrome, wanted to tie the cowboy desire with the kids and wanted to start like a therapy school for kids on horseback. So I got an internship at Love Lane. Shout out to Love Lane, Lincoln, Massachusetts. Huge program out there that they're helping all sorts of kids, Down syndrome, Tourette's, schizophrenia, the whole 9 yards. And did the internship there thinking I wanted to get into it until I found out it was a nonprofit and they make no money. Like they make enough they do big stuff and are growing, but I wanted to experience life like my family did and get to travel and see the world. And so I was like, no way this is happening. And I still had the urge to live out west. I did a ski trip with my family and was in Park City. Have you guys both been there? Never. Great spot. I mean, it's completely blown up now, but when I went in high school, it was like the normal ski town that it was, and they have a hill just like the M here that says PC. We hiked it as a family, and I stood there and knew instantly I was like, I'm gonna move out here eventually. Like the West will be the spot I go next.
You hiked the M?
No, or the PC.
Okay,
their version
in Park City.
In Park City,
I got you.
Yeah, and it's overlooking the entire town and all the ski areas. And so when I finished that internship, my mom found a Craigslist ad for a ranch out in Jackson and said, you should do this if you want to make this a dream and a reality and you want to live on a ranch and live simple. Why not take a shot at this? And so applied and got it and packed my bags up, moved out, did that for the season. And I want to be clear, I wasn't a wrangler. I was not on horses all day. I liked doing it. I loved haying and, cleaning hooves and stuff, but I was not taking guests out. I worked guest services. I did a lot of the dining room stuff and then took them on hikes in the morning, which was great because I got people jacked up for the day. We would hike a mountain behind the ranch and I'd make them yell at 6 a.m. and wake everyone up. I'm like, the kids would be there. I'm like, we're going to scream as loud as we can and get people up. And they just loved it. The group loved it. And then, just doing the ranch thing. After the season was done, I came back home and just didn't know what to do. I worked at Cabela's with their online shipping, hated it, got into landscaping, didn't hate it, but definitely I didn't know where I was going to go with it. So that's when, as it got closer to October, this is through the summer, I'm landscaping. Into October, I turned to my boss, who became a roommate eventually. I called him and had him come out here. I turned to him and I said, dude, I'm moving back out west and I'm leaving in 2 weeks. Mark my words.
Yeah.
And figured it out, packed everything up. And with $600 and my truck and U-Haul, hauled ass out here. And if no one's done the drive, I don't know how many audience members are listening right now.
That millions.
I love it. Live.
25.
At least 25. Doing the coast to coast deal is you get to see a lot of the country and how it is fed, how it functions, how it works, where your oil comes from. I mean, you see a lot of stuff when you're driving I-90 across.
Yeah.
So it's incredible. Very flat in the Midwest. Very flat.
Lots of corn.
Shit tons of corn. The Corn Palace out in Mitchell. It's yeah.
So is this, you come directly to Bozeman or did you go back to Wyoming?
Right to Bozeman.
Okay.
Right to Bozeman.
So that stint is when the story that you told us happened?
When I was in Wyoming. Yeah.
How long was that season there?
It was just from April till September, October. Okay. Packed up. And so that's, man, I'm jumping around with the stories here, but that was a post-college thing, post-internship. figuring out the West, and then deciding I needed to go back. So after the season, I went back home. I was like, what am I doing with my life? And then went to Bozeman. And I picked it on a map. I knew no one out here. I don't know why, but I knew I couldn't survive in Boston. I didn't have the degree. I didn't have the knowledge. I didn't have the acumen to, get into finance or do whatever people in Boston do. So I knew I
What
wouldn't.
do those people even do?
What do they even do? Shout out to all my friends out there making it happen. But I didn't know what I was going to do out there. And so I knew I had to pack somewhere cheaper, more affordable. That
Do you think that was?
You should not. Probably shouldn't have come to
Do you
Bozeman.
think that was really your brain just saying, "I don't want to be here"?
I don't know. I really don't know. I knew in college, I had a girlfriend in college that it seemed like she wanted to be in New York and in Boston, and I just couldn't do it. I knew it was going to end. I was like,
Well, what I'm saying is like your brain was like shutting down, saying, I don't like, you're basically saying, I don't want to be here, but you didn't realize that. And so then, meaning like you couldn't have articulated this, like, it's not that I can't make it out here. It's that I don't want to be here. And therefore I'm telling myself I can't be here.
I think it's both. Like you would have to figure it out for sure.
Right.
Like if you're going to stay, but I knew I had that calling and I had to fill it.
Yeah.
I would feel like shit if I didn't. It would be a missed opportunity. Like, I stayed in Boston and never got to see what could have been. And so it's just enough of a driving force. I mean, I think it's the same thing, but I want to be careful when I say this. Like, it's the same thing, but different with immigrants. Like, immigrants have to go somewhere new to provide or figure it out. And some of their friends do stay and end up in the same country, like, forever. They don't ever leave, and some make that risk. I mean, that's been the American dream, is exploring and going out, and I need to go somewhere better to provide a life for myself or my family, type thing. And I picked Bozeman. It was a lot cheaper than Boston at the time. People are now paying what, $1,500 per person in Boston. I mean, that can get you a decent place in Bozeman. I might be out of touch, but yeah.
Isn't that? I mean, that's essentially the call to adventure that a lot of people experience and either answer or don't for whatever reason. It's a very archetypal, age-old story.
Yeah. And with COVID, everyone, I think, just did it. But like, I don't have to work, or I can work from home. I'm going to just go and do the things I've always wanted to do. And I just didn't need a sickness or cold to push me to do it. I just figured it out.
Yeah.
I can't remember who. There's somebody else, I don't remember off the top of my head, that did the exact same thing for whatever reason. Oh, I think it was Evan. Said he randomly picked Bozeman.
Yeah, that's right.
Just for no reason.
Really?
I picked Bozeman because my sister went to MSU, so I knew it. It was like one spot I knew.
It would have been such a fun school to go to.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean,
you ever go to the football games?
I've never been to one.
You should go.
Are they nuts?
It's fun. It's just it's a very fun Bozeman energy. I think there's one or two home games left.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it the Cat Grows one?
No, there's one more, I think the November 5th or 9th or something.
That's a quick season. That's really quick. We have a
guy.
Hey,
if you go, if you get a ticket, I might or might not try to go, but my sister and brother-in-law they've got a tailgate spot there.
Okay.
And it's Saturday, so you can drink.
Okay, nice.
So let me know. You should. I would recommend it. Like, Kyle, didn't you go to the first one last year?
The first what?
Bobcat game?
Was it the first one?
Yeah,
we went to 3 or 4.
You said you hadn't been to one, I think.
Yeah.
Prior.
It's
a lot of fun.
All the games are fun. The games are really fun.
It's great energy because it's essentially the biggest sporting event
here.
Goes on here.
Yeah. Plymouth State had no sports. Our football team was trash. We had one guy win the Heisman way back when. Dudek or something. I don't know. But hockey was the big sport at Plymouth State. So those games were fun. But one of my good friends went to Alabama, Roll Tide. And I wish, like, I love Plymouth, but being able to go to something with that energy.
Oh, it's wild. Like when you go to like a real college event.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Kids are going crazy.
Yeah, even just for, it's not a giant football game like that, but the energy when the rodeo team comes running out on the field and fireworks, the football team, it's it's pretty cool. The place is hyped up.
Yeah, I saw last year Kenny Chesney. I think it was last year Kenny Chesney played there, and it was one of the best concerts I've ever seen in my life. Like I felt like that's what it would be like. Just shit tons of people screaming. Kenny gets a crowd.
Yeah.
Gets a crowd going.
I'm sure he does.
There you should go, man.
Okay.
If you do, let me know.
Okay. I will. Do you have season tickets? It sounds like you're season ticket
I don't, but my sister does.
Okay.
Yeah. I've gone to one game this year.
I'm gonna pee.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, I was gonna say when you asked earlier about the people changing, who you spend your time with, it's me and Kyle started doing this podcast. Mike comes and does the podcast, become better friends with him.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, he says, "Hey, you got to go to this investor group."
Okay.
Started going to that because of Mike. Told Kyle to come. Kyle comes. Kyle's brothers come. But now we've met you. You're here. So that's just a good case in point.
Yeah. Bozeman is small enough that you can run into your network.
Yeah.
Like you just run into the same people. And it was cool to see you arrive because I know I'm not interviewing you, but we're gonna take a quick step here while Kyle's taking a pee.
Is that it?
I knew you from dancing.
Yeah.
Where did you learn to dance? For those who don't know, Tim is insane. You're so good at it.
I most of the dancing that I know how to do, I learned here.
Really?
Yeah.
Just from going?
Yeah. And I did a little bit. There's a gal I dated and went to school in Wyoming. We did it a little bit, but just from going. Yeah. I used to go a lot, man. Like all the time.
I would see you at the jump.
Yeah.
And you were just so good. And every time there was a girl I wanted to dance with, you would swoop in and you start dancing. I'm like, fuck this dude. And you're like a stoic guy. I'm like, I would say hi to you and you would just like walk past. I'm like, this guy fucking doesn't even like me. Like, yeah. And then I see you at the Investors Club and I was excited because I was like, I can finally introduce myself and get to know how this guy got to be so good at dancing. But we're going off the rails.
I'm about to have one with you guys. I was like, man, I haven't had a beer and it's been months, but
these elements are great too.
It's Saturday with Ryan.
Yeah, cheers.
I'll tell you something funny because you just reminded me of it.
Oh, you do? What does it say?
And I like probably nothing more embarrassing. I know you from dancing. How many times did guys say that to you? Hey man, I know you from dancing.
That's just what I call it, dancing.
I know, it's just the term from another guy. Hey man, do I know you from dancing?
I know you from dance class.
So what you reminded me of, I was at a wedding last week in New York. A good friend of mine got married. And this gal that's sitting at our table with a friend of mine, she goes, "Oh, you're Tim from the Kyle and Tim podcast?"
Wait, what?
No.
Who said this?
This woman that was at my buddy Will's wedding in New York.
That's so crazy, bro.
I was like, I want to jump off a cliff right now.
No.
It's very funny because she just knows Matt. Like she probably listened because of Matt's episode. We were sitting at the table with Matt, but it's just the things you never think you'll hear come out of somebody's mouth to you.
Oh my gosh.
So almost, yeah, it's like the weirdest one is, do I know you from dancing? But the second is, are you Tim from the Kyle and Tim podcast?
That's weird. That's like the start. That's how you're like, I know you don't want this to be full time. It's about to be. It's going to be the full time gig.
It's not that I don't. Oh, well, I can tell you I'm not ready for it to be full time. I can't even speak or spell because.
Your girlfriend's the one that said to me the first time I met her. She's like, I feel like I already know you because I've listened to you on the podcast.
Oh, that's
and I'm
right.
like, this is weird.
It's a great way to get to know people.
It's very weird. Yeah, with them, you not being aware that they're getting to know you.
God, it's a nightmare. And you say stuff you regret. That was my biggest fear. It's like, shit.
We're well beyond that at this point.
Yeah, I'm going to share a thought with you. You brought up like spending time with people.
Oh,
right?
that's what we just started talking about when you.
Yeah. And so I think it's interesting. Because, you talked about like, there's you have this like drive in you and you should find its limit, to do things.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes you don't know what they are, right? Like you just have this like drive and you can't articulate it. Right.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's sometimes I asked you somewhat of an unfair question. It's not, I shouldn't say it's not an unfair question. You should explore it, but like, it's okay to not know the answer, meaning, hey, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Well, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But I want to do a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And so
it's finding the why. That's been my biggest challenge into 30.
But it's going to change too.
For sure. For sure.
Like in 5 years, it's going to be way different than it is right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, I'll say this, like, I know I want to have a wife and kids. That has been apparent since middle school. I had a counseling teacher that's like, you want to be a dad? And I was like, yeah, you're fucking right. I do. Like, it's the game plan, but it's circulating everything else around that. And great quote. You can be anything you want, just not everything you want. You can be anything you want, but just not everything you want.
Interesting. I'm going to throw one layer on that.
Go.
You can do everything, just not all at the same time.
Some with no legs would say different. They're like, I cannot run.
You get what
I hear what you're saying.
Like, I'm not saying that, but you get what I mean. Is like, you can do everything.
Yeah.
You just can't do it all at the same time.
You can't do it all at the same time. And so the clock is ticking. You got to figure out what you want to do. There's no redos. None of us are coming back.
Well, but you also don't have to figure out what you want to do. Meaning, well, I would say in general, but what I'm saying for like these like life experiences,
yeah,
you could go snowmobiling one time and have a great time and never do it again.
For sure.
But you did it.
Yeah.
And you said, hey, I tried snowmobiling and it was fun.
Yeah.
Right.
I hear you.
And so it's like, you don't have to figure out that you love snowmobiling.
Yeah.
But it's cool to try it.
Absolutely. I've gone skydiving twice. I don't know if I'll go a third time, but that was one of those.
Do you want to go again? Because I want to go. And I need somebody to go with. I've done it once. I had a fucking blast and I want to do it again.
Was that a power surge?
We're going to jump out of an airplane.
That was the God speaking.
I know, a little click there. Do you actually want to go?
Yeah, like I do want to jump out of an airplane again. It was super fun. Tim's, for some reason,
I'm really just enjoying living, so I'm like not trying to push my luck.
It is, if you don't die.
It is so sick.
It is I went with my best friend Jeff, who's terrified of heights, told me on the plane up. He looked green as a fucking goblin.
So did I.
I was like, dude, what's wrong? I'm jacked up. The guy behind me's jacked up. He's like pitchforks the whole time. I'm like, Jeff, you look like shit. And he's like, I hate heights. I'm like, why are we here? He jumped with me, and then I'm not going to date her, but my older aunt, definitely older, like past 50 aunt jumped with me because she's been doing the indoor skydiving.
Okay.
And she wanted to experience it. She hated it. We'll never do it again. She got so dizzy, so sick. She wanted
well, I think I only got sick when they pulled the parachute.
Really?
I didn't get sick. I got, but you get kind of queasy.
Yeah.
I got a little queasy.
Your nuts get yanked.
Mine didn't get, I got a small wiener and small nuts, so mine was fine. Shout out.
You want to be careful what you say on this podcast.
Mine were all good.
Okay. You'll still have kids. You'll be fine.
Well, like you got kind of like jerked around, right? And then, not in that way, but like, and then,
a dude strapped to your back
when they were going like left and right, you dive bomb and
yeah.
So your stomach gets upset a little bit. Mine kind of got upset, but during the actual jump, the free fall, dude, it was so cool.
It's the best. And you don't feel, they always say like, you're not going to feel that sensation of falling. You just exit and you're kind of there, and they're right. You don't feel anything. It is so crazy. It's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
Like fucking flying.
It was cool.
Yeah. So back to just doing things. Like I absolutely hear what you're saying. You don't have to fully like something or commit to it. I'm going to become a snowmobiler. Like you can do it once. But I think everyone's got an inherent drive. I don't want to say everyone, but everyone wants to be good at something. Some people get great at something and some people become world class. And like you said, like you should try everything, or
I think it's important to try a bunch of new things.
Yeah.
Because they'll lead you to things that you want to do, right?
Absolutely.
And they'll lead you, and so, I think you'll just experience more.
Yeah.
If you don't try anything and you just stay in your little bubble,
it makes you more relatable to other people, which is ultimately like what I want to do. I want to become more relatable and have connections, and like you see in the investor club, like being able to just chat with people and relate and talk. And oh, you're from this area? Oh, I know that area. I mean, you said New York. I said Rochester. I was hoping we'd get a catch there, but no, you're from some other fucking place. But yeah, it's just being relatable and being able to connect with other folks. I think that's the cool part.
Yeah.
And people that you don't even know, you just run into them and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
From the same neck of the woods, you do the same thing.
That's what I can only speak for myself. But Kyle might agree that this podcast has done for us, because we've just been able to connect with a lot of people that we don't know that well.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know you that well. I know you from town. I've known you from around here for a couple of years now, but this is the longest I've sat down and talked with you, and it's getting to know so much more about you.
I know. It's crazy. I was kind of hoping to have the longest podcast here was an outside goal. I don't know if I hit it.
Okay.
We don't have to.
Dude, we gotta stop and go get beer then.
We got work to do.
What's the longest podcast you've done?
Well, yeah,
It's like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
We did it. I think it was with your brother. Maybe
we can come. You can come twice. How's that?
That sounds
come
great.
back on. We'd love to have you back on.
Yeah, that's what, like, me and Kyle have interviewed each other a few times, and my mother's been interviewed too. And now when I put them out, I'll just say R2, R3, so you can just have continuous rounds.
Yeah. Do you guys? How did you two meet?
In an Uber.
No fucking way.
My Uber driver.
Did you really?
Yeah. So Tim picked me up. I think I was going to Alex's house.
I swore I picked you up at the airport, but
that's fine. It doesn't matter. Yeah, that makes also a lot of good sense because I was traveling a bunch of the time.
Yeah.
But he picked me up, and
I'd been here probably a week.
I exclusively used to, and still pretty much do, take lifts.
Bougie.
This is a Facebook.
Well, no,
because
Craigslist. Let me explain. Okay, people don't. This is just a few years ago, but the world changes, right? So, Lyft was like a more casual version of Uber. Uber started in San Francisco, right? And it was like all black cars. And so people wanted to be bougie. And they're like, oh, I'm going to get a private car and I'm going to sit in the back and have a chauffeur, right? Mm-hmm. That's how Uber started. That was their allure, right? Lyft was like, hey, you're just going to get picked up by your friend. And they encouraged people to sit in the front seat and talk to the driver.
Interesting.
That's how Lyft started.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Wow. So Lyft started as a very casual version of kind of Uber where people were friendly.
Yeah.
And so, the first few years of that I would use Lyft, I would always sit in the front seat no matter what city I would go to. And people were like, Lyft the app used to tell you that. It was like, sit in the front seat, talk to your driver. It was like, it kind of coached you like, and maybe I'm misremembering this, but like it kind of coached you through like, hey, be social.
That's incredible.
Well, and Lyft has a ride share thing where like, I don't know if you guys know that it has this feature where like 5 people that go to work. Like, let's say you
can do that with Uber.
Yeah. Carpool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so anyway, it was more social.
Okay.
So I used to always take Lyft because I was traveling all over the country at the time. And I was like, fuck it. Like, I'm going to take a 20-minute ride. I might as well get to know somebody in the city.
Yeah.
Right. So I sat in the front seat.
Yeah.
Right. So I sat in the front seat. We're talking.
What is this fucking weirdo doing up here?
Yeah. And he's like,
I do it all the time. When I get an Uber
and
I want to talk to them.
And just so everybody knows, for reference from Mountain Mule Transportation, Tim drives like with the seat like way forward, way up, like tied up against the steering wheel, like he's a race car driver or something.
Not true, but I do have it very. Yeah. I sit up straight because I like to have good posture because I'm not a slob.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So anyway, so he was sitting like he was like, his face was like on the dashboard. I'm joking.
You're like, I might take the back seat now.
So anyway, we're talking about construction. And he's like, oh yeah, I just moved here from Seattle and I'm a carpenter. And I was like, this guy seems cool. Like, his just demeanor, right? That's like his demeanor was like,
you just missed Ryan saying I'm like this stoic asshole that doesn't talk to anyone.
Yeah. He'd be at dancing.
Well, he was stoic. And so I was like, I just got this like good feeling from him. So I was like, hey, I have a really good buddy who's looking for good carpenters right now. Why don't you give me your number and I'll give it to my buddy. Right. Yeah. And he had been here for a week. Right. Yeah. And I'm like, well, dude, why not?
Business is booming.
So I don't know, 10 days went by, 2 weeks went by. And I was like, that guy seems cool. So I texted him. I was like,
You
hey,
called me.
I called you. Okay. So I called him. I was like, hey man, this is weird, but like, you want to go get a beer and watch the game or something?
Whoa,
And so that's what we did.
that's wild.
Yeah.
We've been bros since.
That is insane.
And then the next morning we went to yoga together.
Did you? No, you didn't.
That's
Swear to
actually a
God.
true story.
We went to,
Really?
Yeah.
we got like blacked out the night before and then at the bars and then went to yoga at like 8
I'll tell you
a.m. the next
I'll
day.
tell you all the details of the story. It's all coming out now. We're like,
And Tim took a
yeah.
Tim took a winner home that night.
Hey, I liked her.
She was a winner.
Yeah.
Hey, I liked her.
That was the whole story. He's like, hey, you want to? I remember there was baseball playoffs. You want to watch basketball?
Yeah, I was watching the Laker game. He was
like-
watching the match.
He's like, I want to watch a baseball game. I was like, yeah, cool. This chick I met the other day, she might come hang out. And we hung out. We had a bunch of beers. You were showing us like all the weird stuff you were building in the Amazon factories. And I was like, oh, dude, since I moved here, I started doing yoga at this crazy yoga studio. And he's like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing it tomorrow at like 9. And he's like, oh, okay. Anyway, he like, we split ways. This chick, like, I take this chick home. I'm like probably still drunk the next day, and I show up, and this dude's like, "Hey, man, I came to do that yoga class." And I'm like, "Get out of here!"
You showed up at his door?
No, at the yoga class. At the yoga
Oh
place.
my gosh,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
But it was hilarious. Just the sequence of events, and now we've since been good friends.
Been friends.
Yeah,
that's wild.
Yeah. Don't talk to the girl anymore, unfortunately, but we still got.
You got something out of it. Ubering's such a great way to like talk to random fucking people, because I used to do it in Boston. I'd drive down from college to Boston on the weekends and would just Uber through the city in a pickup truck.
Yeah.
And you just talk to it's chat roulette back in the day, but it's in person. You're just chatting up random folks from all walks of life. It's so cool.
I don't do it a lot now, but every once in a while I'll get an Uber if I'm moving vehicles around or dropping a truck off somewhere. And you do get a sort of some interesting intel just from people that are local drivers that are around town, and like the stuff they know what's going on. And
yeah. They know everything.
It was great when I just moved here because I essentially found out all the routes around town, learned where the cool spots are, the good restaurants.
Yeah. People like when you give them, especially in a tourist town like Bozeman, giving them the recommendations. They tip heavy. It's a crazy story how you guys met. That's funny. Yoga, booze, basketball,
Ubers, Lyfts.
Yeah.
What were we asking you about though? There's something.
We were talking while Kyle was taking a pee. We were talking about the Investors Club.
Yeah.
Mike bringing it up and just, I don't know, meeting people.
Yeah.
I don't know where to go with it. I was gonna say, like, it's cool you guys met in your situation. My business partner that I've been working with in Butte, Allison, I met her on a Delta flight up in the air. And you've seen her, you both seen her. She was sitting behind me, and I was the luckiest guy in the world because I had 3 open seats and no one sitting next to me. So I was like, okay, my bag and everything is going to just be splayed out and I get to chill.
Yeah.
But I turned around and I said, hey, you're from the, I didn't remember her name that well, but I was like, hey, aren't you from the Investors Club? And instantaneously, she's like, move over, we're having a chat. And we went back and forth the entire flight. I think it was from Salt Lake to Bozeman. And there goes my seat. I kind of rolled my eyes at the time, not knowing who she was, but I knew she was a force in the investors community just for what she was doing out in Butte and in Bozeman. And we got to hashing it out and became friends. And as time went on, what I did, and I'm a huge proponent of this, and I say this to everyone, I say it at the investors group all the time, is the free work matters and paying for people's time really matters. And so for her, I wanted to pick her brain and get to know what she knew. So I would take her out to dinner maybe once a month perpetually and just like, let's go get a steak. Let's go to the club, which is the place at the Best Western. And we'd eat, and I would just ask questions and pick her brain. And did that for a while with no expectation from it, just trying to learn what she knows, grab the knowledge. And then she needed an assistant for the real estate company we both work for now. And I took the job. It got me out of construction. And quit the construction job, started working for her as an assistant, was terrible at it. And then I'm still there, but I do the recruiting now, and cold calling.
Recruiting for other
agents.
Okay.
So it's a ranch real estate brokerage. And just with, I want to get more into sales. I think that's the game plan. I don't want to become a real estate agent. I don't know what I want to sell yet, but I know that's like the why thing. Like that's something I can get behind because you can always get better. If you're not closing 100% and it's 99, you have room for growth, unless you're like that unicorn that can do it all the time. So with the people skills and wanting to talk on the phone, they put me into the position of you're going to cold call agents and like get to know them and build relationships. And I just felt like that was God putting me in a position to get better at it, because cold calling sucks all the time. It's never easy. So, but with building the relationship with Allison, we started our LLC and started doing the real estate investing. And that's where the investing club comes in. You connect with people, and bought the place in Butte, and it finally has rented both sides.
Cool.
Both sides. So I can take a sigh of relief, and my bank account thanks me. So
awesome.
Yeah. And you own the place you have now in Belgrade?
Yep. Own the place in Belgrade. That was a dump and a half. That was one of, you guys haven't met him. I don't think a lot of the people in the investors group now, because it's a new set of people, have met him, but Logan and Katie Manzanares, they were forces at the time. When I first joined the club, they were doing so many fix and flips and buying, like every month they had a new deal. I didn't know how they did it. And they own a cleaning company in town that does residential cleaning. But he calls me up one day, Logan, and he's got the stoic asshole type thing. Love you, Logan. But he does not mess around when it comes to his friends either. And he calls me up though, and he's like, I'm going to tour 3 buildings today. Do you want to come? And I didn't want to miss on the opportunity. So I leapt on it, and we're driving around, and we end up in this place in Belgrade, and it's a duplex, and it's overgrown, looks like shit. And we're touring it, and the bottom floor has just stuff everywhere. There was a cat living in it. There's cat piss everywhere. It was just bad. Terrible paint job. And upstairs was even worse. Cigarette smoking house. You could see the nicotine coming off the walls type deal. It was yellow. And one of the guys we were with turns to me and he says, "This is a pig with lipstick on it, but if you do not buy this, you'll be bought out. Like the market's just going to go a different direction." And he was right. And so I dived on it. I went to I saved up all my money in construction. I barely went out. I went out maybe 5 times in the 2 years that I was here. And it was when friends visited, wanted to show them a good time. But I tried to save as much as possible. And then, like, I'm telling you, within $100, like, just had enough to make it happen. All the banks denied me. Every single one of them. They looked at all my sheets.
How'd you do it?
I got a cold call from a mortgage broker out of nowhere, and I thought it was a scam. I hung up on him the first time. He calls, he says, "Hey, my name's Matt. I can help you out with getting this house." And I hung up. I was like, that was too weird. 5 minutes later, I was at Rockford Coffee. I even remember it. He calls again. He says, "I'm not joking. I will get you this house. I need you to call me back." He leaves the voicemail. And I call him, and I don't know what he did. He figured it out. But he was, what the banks wouldn't do was show that I was making income from the upstairs. So I was going to live in the downstairs, but they wouldn't show.
They wouldn't project forward that you were going to make money.
Correct.
In the future. And so that would have made it work.
Well, it wasn't money. Correct. But it was not even like money in the future. It was like money at the time. Like, hey, you're going to rent this out and 1,700's coming in. That doesn't count. It's what you're making, Ryan. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. It's helping out. And the banks just wouldn't allow it. They wouldn't underwrite it. But then he found
because they were basically saying, if you can't rent it, you're fucked.
Exactly. Like, if you can't make it work on your own, we do not trust it. And at the time, there was a change in the rates going up.
Yeah, they weren't going to take that chance on you.
No. And I'm brand new, 2 years here. Like, I barely have a rep sheet for it. But he found
which is interesting because banks make stupid investments all the time.
all the time. Businesses fail all the time and they invest in them all day long.
All kinds of things.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it was the times. So many people were just buying homes and they wanted cash offers only, but they wanted someone trusted. You know, they want someone who's a banker or something that's got a 6-figure income that's been there for 10 years and can promise that will continue on. They don't want the kid in construction that's, you know, trying to figure it out and just moved out here.
Yeah.
But he found the deal and got it done. And
you still in contact with him?
No.
Okay.
I don't know where he is. I think he's kind of out in the ether. He's from Michigan. And
so he was like a mortgage broker.
Yeah. Yep. And I've been trying to help him out ever since. Like because he helped me, anytime someone's just trying to get their first deal, I always send it to him.
That's like that event we went to.
What's that?
With that Lima Capital place.
Oh yeah, I sent you the. I think I sent you the link to that. It was at the AC Hotel.
They're a hard money lender, basically.
Okay.
They're not. I mean, they don't just do that, but basically they charge you a couple of % on top of what you would get charged somewhere else.
Okay.
But they're more lenient on the qualifications.
Okay.
Right. So they'll say, hey, look, like, you know, like the situation you're talking about, like that, you know, they'll look at the whole picture and say, hey, look, you're going to rent out the top floor. Mm-hmm. I think they'll just willing to make more chances.
Yeah.
But I also think that, you know, the smackdown is a little bit harder when people don't pay their bills.
Exactly. And I think with just the Bozeman area,
like they'll literally come get your house and be like, okay, cool, you're out.
They should.
But what I'm saying is, like, a normal bank, they'll go through a whole long process before they kick somebody out of the house.
They move at the speed of the government.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Where like a hard money lender is like, no, somebody's going to repossess your car next week.
That's scary.
I mean, I don't know, but that's kind of what it seemed like. It was like,
energy.
These are private companies that like need to get paid. And so like they're going to take over your house because they technically own it.
Yeah.
Right. And like, you know, I think it's funny that, and I think it's a mindset shift that I think I think it's healthy. So what's my opinion worth? But people say like, I own my house, right? I don't say that. I don't own my house.
Yeah.
The bank owns the house. I pay the bank every month.
Yep.
And until I get 51% of that house, I don't think I'm going to say I own the house.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't.
Yeah, no,
I don't own it.
It's true.
I have a loan on it.
Yeah.
Right. And same with your car, right? Yeah. Like people were like, if you have a loan on your car, you don't own the car.
Yeah.
The bank owns the car.
No, it's absolutely true.
Until you can pay it off.
Yeah. I think there's so much not middle America, but the American dream is to have a house, and people get so hyper fixated on it. The longer I own my place, the longer the bank owns it for me.
Yeah.
It's good when it's an investment, but I just am not a believer in it as a single family deal. I think if that's what someone wants and they're set on living in like the town that they're in, that's great. But no one tells you the amount of upkeep involved with owning a home. It is insane.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just everything costs money. I mean, you're in the contracting business, so it's easier to fish through that stuff. But if you don't know many contractors, trying to get things to happen and just, something broke and everything's shut down now.
Yeah.
Big problem that no one tells you about. You think it's all peaches and cream.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of benefits to owning a home.
I wonder,
I don't like, it's not just like anything, right? It's not all it's made out to be. I think like it for me, it's like done all the other things in life for me, right? Like it's allowed me to like feel like I have a home and settle down and, become a part of a community.
Yeah.
And so those things are, the intangibles that like moving from apartment to apartment to apartment to apartment is disruptive. Yeah. And so owning a home and staying in a place for a while allows you to make it your own. Agreed. And you can you can put your own personality on it, and
Mhm.
you can decorate it that way, and you can do the yard. You know, if you like landscaping, like you can make the yard the way you want it, right? What you can
Yeah,
make
yeah,
it
yeah.
your own,
I hear you.
and then you can invite people and have barbecues and dinners and and share your life with people versus in an apartment. I personally never felt I never decorated an apartment.
No.
I take it back. I decorated one.
Mhm.
But like I never previous to that, like I never put pictures on the walls really. I did, but it was just like pretty thin
Yeah.
because I didn't feel like I was going to live there very long,
Yeah.
and I didn't really want. Well, I didn't really want to be there that long.
Listen, this is not gospel, and I'm not speaking like a truth here. Like, it's for the person. If your goal is to decorate it the way you want and build that community,
I think that's cool. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yep.
I just know so many people that they buy it and they get locked in. Like, I just haven't found my spot yet. Bozeman, I don't think is my spot. I don't know where it is yet. Kind of like Arizona, but it's not my spot. So I don't feel, I just don't connect with buying a house and settling down and being in that spot.
Yeah.
I love all the things you're saying though.
Well, so that actually makes, I mean, hey, if you want to decorate an apartment, do it.
Yeah.
Right. Like and make it feel like a home. Great. I didn't want to because I didn't feel like I was going to be there that long.
Yeah.
But even more so, at least in my take on this, is that like your opinion of like I don't know if Bozeman's my spot. Great.
Yeah.
Buy an investment and look at it super strictly. It's like it's an investment.
Yep.
It's not a forever home, and you don't get locked in on it. You're like, no, this thing makes me money every month, or it appreciates over the time I'm going to own it.
Yeah.
So that when you want to move to Arizona,
yeah.
you sell the house like an investment. You're not attached to it,
yeah.
and you walk out the door.
No feelings.
And you take your money and you go buy a nicer place in Arizona.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I totally agree. I think it depends on the person. I get worried about, and I've been this way for a while now. I get worried with people that get attached to certain identities. And I don't think you're like that, but there are people that get.
I have been.
You have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
don't we
does.
all like we get attached to our identity?
Yeah.
And then you go, oh shit, I don't want to play this character anymore.
Yeah. But I think people are like, they get so fixated if they don't have a home that they need one, and then they get one and they're like, okay, now what? Type of thing. They just think it's part of the thing. The wife, the kids, the house. It's ingrained in us as Americans. And so
that's a trap.
For some people, I like having freedom. So I want to be able to up and leave whenever. And I know I can do that with my place. I can just go to a different place and rent out my spot. But I totally get why people, I mean, having a home is fun. It's cool. Having a spot is fun. Mowing the lawn every other week is
not fun.
You don't like it?
It can be, but it depends on what's going on in your life, right?
So
like if you have other things, well, that's a good point, right? So people have different perspectives on it. If you have other pressures and you're like, I should not be mowing this fucking lawn right now. I have other shit that's super important to me to be doing.
Oh, for sure.
Then mowing the lawn becomes stressful.
Yeah.
Now you could have a different perspective on that and be like, hey, this is my relaxation. And like I'm gonna mow the lawn and I'm just chilling.
Yeah, my brother's gonna give me shit hearing this because he mows my lawn most of the time because I'll be forgetful. Yeah. But I do enjoy like being out and just you take care of something. Taking care of something is kind of the big point of it. It's just keeping it organized and clean. But I don't know how we got to that. We were talking about investing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say to you saying all the expenses that people don't realize about owning a home.
Yeah.
I think with home ownership, which I don't have, but you got to be thinking really long term.
Yeah.
Because it might suck now, but yeah, you could just pay rent now. But in 30 years, you might have a paid off home that's worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you have so much more optionality then versus you might pay rent now, spend a little bit less now, and it'll be a lot more convenient. But then in 30 years, you got to either pay rent. I mean, yeah, but go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to say, so like, then there's certain places where, it's 2024, right? So I'm going to do the math real quick. I haven't, forget what I've paid into the house, right? The house is 3/4 of the way paid off just based on appreciation.
Your house.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's been 4 years.
It's crazy.
So the house might be paid off in 6, let's call it. Right. And it's like, and that's not even including what I've put into it, like paying my monthly mortgage. So what I'm getting is that, like, you don't even have to think 30 years.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not saying you shouldn't think that way, but you could also say, I'm going to do this every 3 years. I'm going to move. Right. And I'm going to take the appreciation of 50 grand, 100 grand, 200 grand, whatever it might be, and move into a nicer neighborhood.
Yeah.
And then 3 years later, move into another nicer neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's a lot of people that do that. And I think it's really smart, because you're like, well, who wouldn't want to live in a nicer house in a nicer neighborhood? You would. Right. So just hopscotch every 3 or 4 years. And all of a sudden you're in the nicest neighborhood in Bozeman and you've moved, 4 times. Cool.
Yeah. I think
and you basically took your original down payment, right? And it worked for you 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
Depending on how, what you get next.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Bozeman's, as everyone says, red hot. It's hot. It's difficult. Everyone wants to move here. So it's definitely an anomaly when it comes to homeownership and buying a house, just how people operate and what they want to do with it. I mean, I know people that have and I have no facts behind this, but they have the strong case of, you rent and the money you save not paying a mortgage, you are investing and you will be able to retire at 35, 40. They do that type of thing. Probably not in Bozeman, but just out there. They're making that happen. And I've always found that fascinating.
If you're a savvy investor and you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not.
You're not.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't.
What are you hoping to learn from the Investors Club while you're there? I mean, you've been a repeat.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
I mean, like, I am interested in buying a home and probably multiple properties ultimately.
Yeah.
I mean, just from being around people that have done it, you pick up so much, and
yeah,
probably just enough exposure to grow the balls to do it myself.
Yeah. You have the balls. You're going to do it.
Yeah. It's just a kind of a matter of time. And
yeah,
I used to always think of home ownership and why I don't own a home is, I'd be so locked down here.
Mm-hmm.
But now I just think, oh no, ideally I could build a home or buy a home somewhere and then keep it and buy another home. And just, I think it ultimately lead to more freedom and more optionality. If you don't get yourself in too deep and get in too much trouble, you got to be somewhat tactical.
Yeah. No floods, no fires, no mistakes. Allison and I's first
insurance.
You have to have insurance. Allison and I's first project was out in Kansas. Found it randomly on realtor.com, less than 100K. Like, we had this going. Had an investor come in. We're ready to purchase. We go through all the due diligence in a day. The day before, I get a text message, Ryan.
The day before escrow closes.
Before escrow closes, I get a text. Well, day before is Sunday. We're closing on Monday. I get a text message from the realtor. I need you to call me immediately. I'm like, fuck, something's up. And I call her and she goes, hey, Ryan, how's it going? I'm like, great. Like, I'm so excited to close. This is huge. She goes, you're not closing. I'm like, okay. Am I closing next week? Like, what's going on? No, you're not closing at all. And I go, why? What happened? She goes, last night a storm came through, lightning hit the house, and the place burned down to the ground. And we had wired the money that morning. We got it back, but that morning, the place is on fire.
So, wow.
And so
that's interesting, because I don't think I had insurance on the house for like a week or two, right? Because like you buy it, and then like the insurance program doesn't actually kick in for like another 10 days.
Exactly.
Right? Like you can call on the day you own it.
Yeah.
Technically, right?
Yeah.
And which I did. Like I want to say I called like the day or the second day, and I was like, I need insurance on this house. I just got it. It's now mine. Here's all the paperwork.
Oh, I would do it before then.
You can't.
Oh, really?
Because you don't own it.
Yeah.
So you can't get insurance on it.
You don't own it. You can project.
So there's like this like time of window. There's like this window of time, and I'm sure there's like something that covers it. Maybe there isn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's like a 10-day window that like you don't fucking own it. Like, or you don't have insurance on it. Because the other people are like terminating their insurance. And I do think because I bought it from a friend, so I think we covered the gap, and we just like split the difference or whatever.
Yeah.
It was like nothing.
Yeah.
But can you imagine? Let's just say you bought the house, wired the money, and you waited a few days to call your insurance company.
Yeah.
And then you
It
make a
makes me
claim. Hey, bro, the fucking house burned down.
It makes me sick to my stomach to think about, because you do order insurance for it before, and it does become locked in under your name when you close and it goes through. So like everything's set up, but because the money had not landed yet and the paperwork wasn't signed, it was still the other guy's house. And I feel so bad for him. I feel bad for the family. There was a family in there with a newborn child, and they had to dip out. Very sad. And they're all fine.
Okay.
For all I know. She said, I asked, is the family okay? And she's like, yeah, they're good. So I don't know what's happening with them, but the homeowner thinks he's getting a payday and dips out and goes to Germany. And so we can't contact him. No one can contact him. He's just out there and
not getting a payday, bro.
Not getting a insurance.
Hopefully he had good insurance
claim. So that was the first deal we did, and it went up in flames. Sounds goodness.
Sounds like it was, you didn't want to buy that house.
I wanted it so bad.
Well, so what were you all going to do with it? You're going to buy it for $100,000?
It was $100,000 and it cash flowed immediately. Family didn't want to move, and it was the right spot.
So you're going to like slowly raise rents.
Slowly raise rent. It was just something we could do.
Yeah.
It was
simple. So it was like money in your pocket every month.
Yeah.
And then you're going to raise like every year, just raise rent a little bit more and then put more money in your pocket.
Yeah. It was just the first deal. I can't believe I even found it. I picked Topeka, Kansas out of nowhere. I just knew, I've heard that the Midwest has, here it's appreciation, there it's cash flow. And so I wanted something that cash flowed, that could grow and just sit there. And that I just found it on Realtor one day and was like, I think this is the one. It was nice and clean and organized. It looked like it was taken care of. Right next to a hospital. I felt like we'd do the nursing, like traveling nurse deal. Yeah. But burned up.
Remind me after to talk to you about a potential market.
Okay.
Kyle probably knows what I'm going to say, but I'm not going to say it on the air.
Can't talk about it.
Can't talk about
it. Nobody knows about it.
Oh, people know about it, but I still think it's a good idea.
Yeah, it probably is.
Anyway.
It's not that cheap.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it. Okay.
Well, I was surprised at like prices.
Yeah.
But like, where are you not surprised at the prices nowadays?
Yeah. It's crazy. Have you done the rut before?
I've done different versions of it. Yeah.
I want to do it. It's on that's one list item.
So
yeah.
It's a great race.
Yeah.
The whole program, like for the short races, the long races, the medium races are all great.
I did my first marathon in Jackson on September 29th. Immediately hooked after that. And I've done endurance events before, but I liked it. I liked the mindlessness of the running. And after doing it, I went with a friend, a coworker, to the rut just to watch it. And that was, you're seeing people fucked up coming down.
And you want to be one of those
You're
people.
just like, why not experience that? Like, you're almost going to shit your pants and you're bleeding out of your knees and you're dehydrated. It's great.
So did you watch the 50K?
No.
So if you watch the 50K, you get to see people in all forms of their life.
Yeah.
All in one day.
There was a guy doing it in sandals. Sandals.
Yeah, there's
Who the fuck are you? It's like Moses.
The Tara
through.
That's like a Tarahumara thing.
Who's that?
Tarahumara, some Indians out of northern Mexico, and they're really good long distance runners.
Okay.
And so it became a thing, became a trend because the Tarahumara run in those type of sandals.
Interesting.
And they'll run 20, 30, 40 miles in them.
That's fucking nuts.
And so people have kind of picked it up of like, they get their feet. There's some interesting arguments as to why it's actually good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because like shoes, it's kind of like the same kind of idea. Like because the shoes are like protect your feet so much that your actually feet are weak.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like your muscles in your feet are weak.
Mm-hmm.
Where like there's no padding in those sandals. They're like that, right?
Yeah.
And so your feet get super strong and there's a bunch of muscles around your ankle and your calf. They get ripped because they're, you're constantly, it's like somebody, it's like when you shake somebody's hand who has strong hands, like a mechanic or a carpenter, or somebody's using it, like they have strong ass hands.
Meaty.
And forearms, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's because they're using it all the time.
Yeah.
And like if you're running in $150 running shoes, like you got weak ass feet.
My Hokas would fall into that.
Yeah.
I love those things.
I have Hokas too, so I got
great.
weak ass feet too.
Are you a Crocs or a Birkenstock guy? You look like a Birkenstock.
Neither. I'm not a fan of Crocs, and I'm not a fan of Birkenstock.
Tim's like, I don't wear that bullshit.
Hey dudes.
Okay, hey dudes are fair. I love my Crocs. I try to wear them as much as possible. Those are the most comfy shoes of all time.
You should get your testosterone checked.
It's declining as we
And if you wear Birkenstocks, you should really get your testosterone checked.
Now's a good time to bring up Rick's theory.
Yeah, you should. Bring it
up. Our friend Rick he just said he was having a discussion with people. It's their political leanings based on their casual footwear.
What does it say?
That says you're from Boston.
Yeah, probably.
Is that casual footwear though? That's sneakers.
No, I mean Rick was saying, like, if you're Hey Dudes, you're a Republican. If you wear Crocs, you could go 50-50, right?
Yeah, Crocs is middle of the road.
And then like Birkenstocks is like you're liberal.
You're left leaning.
I mean, it makes sense.
I was like, he straight up just called me a Republican. Didn't even give me a chance.
Hey Dudes are great.
They're very really comfortable.
Yeah, I'm sure Crocs are too.
I love them. I try to shout them out as much as possible. Like I ask, I don't know. I love them. They're so comfy. Get to do anything. I want to run a 5K in them.
You should get your testosterone.
It's brutal, dude. Just
saying.
It's true.
I'm sure you need to come up about 400 or 500 points.
I'm shocked you didn't make the comment on my Subaru either. Like I'm.
You definitely need to get
halfway there.
You definitely need to get testosterone.
30 Subaru Crocs TRT. Next step.
It's
all
over,
done.
dude.
It's a wrap. Man, how'd you get that truck? Not to like throw you under the bus here, but you drive
yeah, I've had the truck since I was 18.
Crazy. I saw him on the road. I was like, who's this guy driving this nice car out middle of the day? Just
Lowrider.
Lowrider.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
The gates are wide open. They're just letting all these immigrants in. This lowrider is pulling it.
LA's got the hydraulics going on. That'd be wild.
Yeah, it would be.
It's cool. It's really cool. Right?
You said you were going to talk about plastic water bottles. I was going to let Kyle unload some questions, but I want to hear about the plastic water bottles first.
No, that's another development is just, have you guys seen the brain scans of microplastics that are just in people? It's fucking crazy.
I have not seen the brain scans.
Brains either, or CAT scans.
Yeah, I haven't either, but I've heard of all this data.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, that's.
So you're saying like you're basically like, don't drink anything with plastic in it.
No.
I mean, I think it makes sense.
But you can, so there's just a podcast.
Like avoid most of it is what you're saying.
I'm very conscious of it now. Yeah.
A podcast just came out on Huberman Lab last Monday, and this was all about microplastics.
Really?
And I was falling asleep on the plane listening to this, but the one thing I heard was he said, one of the biggest things you can do that will have a big impact is stop drinking water out of plastic bottles.
Really?
Yeah. And I always have a bottle like that. That's what I generally drink my water.
Stainless one.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking for my clients, because I always have bottles of water for them, and for here, I know I don't know of any companies that I've seen around here, but I know there's companies that are now doing water in aluminum bottles.
Yeah,
there is one here. The glacier one.
We can get them.
Okay.
At like the grocery store and stuff.
Ideally, I could find like smaller ones, like 8-ounce ones.
Yeah, you can't get them in like a big pack of like 36. You can get them in like a 12 pack.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just being avoidant of it. Like,
it's smart. It's wise. Yeah.
The research is coming up and you start making.
I think a lot of that stuff, right? Like I was thinking about the other day, I'm like, why do I, like my phone is right next to me at my bedside. I'm like, it should probably be in another room because like just sleeping next to your phone with the Wi-Fi.
I mean,
your radio frequencies are like right next to your dome all day or all night.
And you're nuts. Do you have it in your pocket? Big problem.
Bro.
That's the testosterone.
It's like 30
too much.
30 years go by and you're just drinking water out of a plastic bottle like nothing. And next thing you wake up and you're driving a Subaru wearing Crocs.
It's bad.
You don't know what happened.
Bad. There's no going back. I mean, I've done changes like that. Like another one, I got rid of the plastics. I try to. I do the red light stuff. Like all my lights in my bedroom are red just to sleep better. It works.
I won't have
What?
any. I will not
Explain
have
that.
any lights on at night. No,
Zero?
like no.
How do you see?
I mean, when I'm sleeping, there's so many different. There's so many different gadgets that have an LED blue light or
yeah.
green light. Your Wi-Fi
You like tape
controller.
over them.
Yeah, they're taped or they're turned off. Anything.
Interesting.
So there's literally it's
It's good.
Yeah.
pitch dark because it's very bad for you when you sleep. From what I understand.
Fucks you up.
Yeah.
It fucks you
Well,
up.
I think you'd notice it, right? So like
Well, you don't notice it too. Is like once you close your eyes, then it's just but it's fucking with your brain, your circadian rhythm.
I would argue that you do notice it, even though like you can't, even
Yeah.
though you can't tell, like you can, right? Is like
You don't
something-
consciously notice it.
Yeah, and so what I mean by that is like I when I was traveling a lot for work, just a really big difference would be like to do kind of what you're talking about is like I put a towel over like something that was like had a small little light on it, right?
Mhm.
So I'd put like a towel over that. I would roll up a towel and put it underneath the door at the hotel room.
Yeah.
So that because the the bottom of the door would be like a half inch, and then all this fucking light would be coming through it. And I would make sure that the blinds were closed as tight as they could, and then I'd put it down at like 67 degrees, and I slept fucking way better than just like not doing those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it was at 71 and I didn't mess with the light,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get as good of a night's sleep. And so I kind of experimented over time because I was in hotels a lot. And so I felt so much better on those nights that I would just like do those few things.
Do you think you sleep better going to a different bed? Because I'm always like that. Like if I sleep in a different bed, I sleep so much better.
I think that can make sense. That can make sense when it's kind of like irregular, right? And you're like you're not going to a hotel room very often.
Mm-hmm.
I was going every week.
Wow.
Right. And so I got to a point where I was like, I was always on the road. So I would say seriously like 20% better by doing just those things.
That's noticeable. That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. The sleep's mattering. They're like finding that more too. It's all the health stuff that's coming out is they just find more and more.
I gotta pee again.
Can I grab another beer?
Yeah.
It's Saturday, boys.
Yeah.
Well, I'll keep talking. Can I bring this?
I did the Tupperware too. All my lunch Tupperware is glass now. Yeah.
It does. I'm gonna have to take a pee after. It does make a difference, and I just feel I don't want to say smarter, but healthier by switching out the plastic.
Yeah. The bottle's an easy one for water. You just have an aluminum water bottle.
Yeah.
Just fill it up.
Also in construction, it's all in the air.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine plumbers just dealing with grinding and cutting open stuff and what it's like. So good shit.
So who are you working for here? Construction.
Teton Heritage Builders.
Okay. I think Kyle, when he comes back, I think that's who his buddy worked with, that he was trying to set me up with a job.
Okay.
That guy moved. I think that guy moved. It couldn't have been when Kyle. I thought that's who Kyle bought his house from, but that wouldn't have made. No, maybe it did because Kyle didn't own his house yet when I met him.
Yeah.
Kyle, you remember your buddy that you said was looking for carpenters? Yeah. What was the name of that company?
Teton Heritage Builders.
That's who I worked for.
That's who Ryan worked for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have no other comments other than that.
Okay. Got
Okay.
Keep it tight.
Noted.
Keep it tight.
Oh, so close.
Not a basketball player.
Nope.
At all.
We've been going for 2 hours and 30 minutes.
We can wrap it up.
Don't you have some big questions to ask Ryan though? You always ask people big questions.
I hate talking about my life, by the way.
Okay.
So
We're going to ask you some serious.
We got a couple questions for you though.
Now I can fuck you up.
no, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, ready?
Ready.
Okay.
I'm shooting like
think-
33%.
How well, on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you think you know yourself?
Oh,
It's a two-part question.
two-part.
Yeah.
So it's two-part question.
Yeah.
Do you think you know what you like, what you think, and what you believe? And so, like, you can kind of answer that question however you feel like, combine it all together. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you think you know yourself?
I'm gonna
Yeah,
pee
you can
before-
pee and think about it.
I'm gonna pee and
This
think
is
about
bullshit, dude.
it. Question was, how well do I know myself?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you think you know yourself? Do you think you know what you think, what you believe, and what you want? So, however you'd like to answer that question,
Yeah,
it will be an acceptable answer.
great. I'm gonna give myself a 5. I know. Is it? Let me
Yeah, go ahead.
go back at you with this. Is it up until now or who I can become type thing?
However you want to answer it.
Okay. Because I'll say this. I had there's the age of 30 that was a perpetual change in my life, completely changed my thinking. But a year prior to that, I can't believe I'm going down this rabbit hole. I never think I would, but being religious was a huge change. There was a Catholic church in my town. My family was not religious, but they felt the importance of it, especially my grandfather pushed it, but didn't grow up religious. Kind of just went on the Easter, Christmas bend that a lot of people do. And it was last year, it's been a full year, but a year and a half ago, I'm sitting on my couch on a Saturday. And I'm like, I should go to church. I should just go. And the goal was to think different. I wanted my beliefs to be completely changed. I don't know why. I just felt it.
Okay.
And I get a phone call from my friend Kayla. Shout out to Kayla. She worked at the ranch I did. She is very religious, to the book Christian. And she calls me. Or I think I called her just checking in because she lives in Paradise Valley. And she's like, you want to go to church tomorrow? Out of the blue. And I just took that as a sign of okay, I'm going to go walk in and see what I will learn. And I have been going nearly every Sunday, maybe a few times off on vacation and stuff, for a year and a half now. It has been the most significant change in my life.
Cool.
And I didn't expect it whatsoever. I didn't expect it for myself. I'm going to get a little emotional here. Didn't expect for myself or that my parents and my friends would be so accepting of it.
Mm.
That's the crazy part.
You thought that they would not accept it.
My mom, it's not that they wouldn't accept it. My mom is very big on you're a good person and that's all that matters. And that's great.
Sure.
And she never got attached to church. But after going in and hearing the preaching, I go to Venture Church. Shout out to Venture.
What kind of church is it?
Just a Christian church. My grandmother was Lutheran. I always accepted myself as a Lutheran. But this is just a strictly Christian church. But the mental change, I just never expected it. And having that happen, having such a big change in my belief system, so recent, I can't give anything more than a 5.
What's changed? You said the thinking.
The thinking's changed. What I like about Christianity, among other religions, is all that matters, how I've interpreted it. Other people think of it differently. All that matters is your loving God. That is it.
Okay.
You're loving God in your relationship with Christ.
Mm-hmm.
That is it. There is no good works. There's nothing you can do. You can go to church 1,000 times. If you don't love the guy, you're not getting in.
Mm-hmm.
And I am so big about, we meet different people in the world. We run into different types of individuals. And some people can be two-faced. You don't know what's on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the level playing field it gives everyone. It says we're all sinners. We're all sucking in the eyes of God. There's nothing you can do to get in. It's just loving him and understanding him and building that relationship. And I think that's freeing. I think that's huge because a lot of other religions, you have to do things. And if you're not doing it enough, you're not getting in. The gate does not open for you, from what I've heard. I'm brand new to this, guys. Leave me alone. Brand new to this. But
our viewership just went down 25%.
yeah, sorry guys.
I'm joking.
No, but
I'm kidding.
yeah, no, I get it. The relationship is huge. I find myself talking to God more. I enjoy praying. I like that one-on-one time.
So how has this, like, it sounds like it's seriously positively impacted your life?
Yeah, it has.
Okay, so in which ways?
I think it's a gratitude thing.
Okay.
I think it's a gratitude thing. I love talking through this, by the way. I believe it's a gratitude. It's gratitude. It's realizing that I'm not in control the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Things are out of my control. They're going to happen. That I can't. This is the selfish part that I enjoy. That when I tip high, when I help a homeless person, when I do the good things, it's not to get in. It's because I want to do it.
Uh-huh.
And that like, when I heard that, when the pastor spoke about it and said, hey guys, you could do all the good stuff in the world, you're still not getting in. It only depends on these things, like your relationship. I was like, green light to the thing I fucking love most. And I love people and I love helping people. And so I'm like, I can do that without the judgment of you're not doing enough or you're doing too much or this. I selfishly enjoy helping people and I can do it on my own. I know it's not going to get me. People say, oh, you're a good person, you're going to heaven. Not true. Hate to say it. Like, there is rules to it, but because I selfishly enjoy helping people and making other people's lives better and doing that, I get to do it for myself, not to get into a spot that I think is going to be better, if that makes sense. You know, it's just been a mindset change. I think people, especially our generation, the younger, below 50, we want to be in control so much.
Well, we have so much in control.
Yeah.
There's so many things that are actually, they seem to be in control.
Yeah.
They're not, but they seem to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And we have so much information that, like, we think is important, but it's kind of worthless.
Exactly.
Or it can be.
Exactly.
Like your tire pressure gauge on that Subaru.
I fucking love it. My truck didn't have one. It was a nightmare. It said my tires were flat the whole time.
And it's great because your tires might be flat and that fucking stupid sensor might not go off.
Yeah.
But it gives you, what I'm saying is, like, people have, like, this sense of security.
Yeah.
Because we have more information. But if the information's not any good, you shouldn't have a sense of security about it. So anyway, I think I don't know that, like, things aren't necessarily better or more secure than they were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever.
I agree.
But I get what you're saying. Like, our generation wants to have more control. We want to know the right answer
all the time.
Like, oh, give me the right answer.
Yeah. And what I've learned, what I'm liking about it, for better or for worse, God will give you whatever you ask for. Call it God, call it the universe. He will give you what you ask for, but it is not up front and it is not in the way you think. Case in point, I've wanted to get better at sales. And so what does he do? He brings a company on the side of the one I work for that's like, hey, you can make extra money door knocking, but you're going to have to do this. And it's like a tax thing for ag properties. But I take that as God saying, hey, you wanted this, you want to get better at sales. Here is the way you are going to do it. I'm giving it to you. And you might not like that. You might not think it's cool, but it's what's come in front of you. And you kind of have to, you either do it or you don't. He's giving you that opportunity. And so I try to take things as they come in and as they go, as this has been brought into my life. It's in front of me and I have to operate with it in front of me. And there's no complaining. There's no crying. It's just what's there. I asked for this and I either take it and I do it or I don't. Long-winded answer for your original answer, or original question. What?
A 5.
A five. Because that happened so recent and it was so big. Like, I don't know what tomorrow's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I might get a phone call and a guy's like, hey, I need you to like hop on my plane or whatever. And I need help with this because you know how to do it. Like, you just don't know how people change your fucking life.
Sure.
And forever. And so in the micro, I know myself really well. I know what I like. I know what I eat. I know how I operate and the things I do. But in the macro, I don't know a fucking thing. I don't know who I'm going to become. I could be an alcoholic at 50. Who knows? Like things just happen.
Saturday goes
every
to-
day.
Yeah, Saturday. Days that end in Y. But you just don't know. And so I don't want to be the guy that's speaking to the mic and saying, yeah, I know myself so well. Like I'm so dialed in. I am on the day to day, but yearly, not a fucking clue. I change my beliefs all the time. I find a new way to do something and it's a seismic shift. So, but the religion, Christ, the whole thing has been a massive one recently.
Yeah. Cool.
There you go.
I'm going to steal one of Kyle's question
Okay.
because it's a good one. What's your biggest fear in life right now or in general?
I'll do macro, micro car accidents. This fucking town. There's so many fucking people driving like lunatics in their trucks.
And you came from Boston. So
Came from Boston. Yeah.
That's saying something.
Just like every day I'm clenching my teeth thinking I'm going to be in a car accident. I don't know what it is. I don't want to manifest it. But I'm like, fuck, dude. I'm like, and I'm a bad driver as it is. So I just get worried about car accidents happening. I think not doing enough. I think just getting cooked at 32 and not trying it all. I'm really scared I'm not going to become a father. It scares the fuck out of me.
Oh, that, you know what? I'm going to send.
Why are you scared of it?
I want it so bad.
Yeah, but why are you scared of it?
Of not becoming a dad?
No, you're scared that you're not going to become a father, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to send you a video after this that might like change your whole perspective on that for the better.
Okay.
Meaning like, you want to really bad.
I want it so bad.
That makes sense to me.
More than anything.
Yep.
This video is going to be great for you.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
You're not scared of becoming a father.
Not a chance.
Yep. Okay. So I just want to make sure I'm clear.
Yep.
You're not scared of becoming a father.
Yeah.
You're scared that you won't.
I'm scared that I won't.
Yeah.
It's a big thing.
That's interesting that you're scared that you won't, huh?
Yeah. Part of it is like the genetic thing. Like I just want my genes, the bloodline to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
That's just natural. Not that my dad did a bad job, but I am the next version of my father transformed. So like he did the work. I'm doing the work with like seeing the experiences type thing. And I think if I can get the next version of that and I hate saying this, downloading it into that person and that kid, I'll be pumped about it. Like I just want to, it's so cool. I got to travel with my dad a bunch. It was so cool seeing the places he experienced. I loved learning from him. I loved learning from my parents. I just want to do that. There's like a mini me out there that you can teach and live life all over again. I think it's the coolest stuff. I think the innocence and inexperience of youth is so, I just hear so many people saying, I've never heard someone say they regret being a dad.
Mm-hmm.
I think some people are like, I regret like how stressful it is and it's a lot in this, but no one has, I've never heard someone say, fuck, I wish I didn't have my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And if they did, you're a dick. Like, go fuck yourself. But just hearing that, I just want it so bad. I don't know. I've wanted it since middle school. It's crazy. So that's the biggest fear, I think. Not doing enough, not being able to provide for a family, getting old, breaking down, but not being a dad and having a loving wife is fucking terrifying.
I'm excited for you to listen to this video. I'm gonna send you.
You will. You're gonna become a dad.
I think this
so.
video will really change your perspective for the better. Because it honestly changed mine for the better. Because I could relate to that in plenty of senses.
Yeah. It's scary, you know. And you don't know. My grandfather had the same thought to my mom. I don't know if he was speaking about me or my
Well, I mean,
kids.
if you call up your old tenant from upstairs, you'll become a dad.
That was a terrible joke. That was so bad, dude. She says shit. I'm not even. Oh my God.
Whether you like it or not, bud. Maybe that testosterone is all right.
Yeah. Oh, just gives me the skeeves. But
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna cut in and ask another question.
keep
Sorry,
going.
Kyle,
Keep
I'm
going.
skipping. Why'd you want to do this podcast, or why'd you say you'll do it?
That's a good question. One I think everyone wants to. I think everyone wants to speak their mind in some way and have a safe space to do it.
A really public space where it's
On YouTube.
where it's put on YouTube and
Safe
Spotify.
YouTube.
Yeah. You want a spot that you can kind of speak your mind. I don't know. I think I just have good perspectives on things and out there perspectives that, whether it's the drinking or how I eat or how I set up my sleeps, like I have different systems and processes I put in my life to make it better from all the mistakes I've made. I not only wanted to say that to the audience, I also wanted to get you two and like connect with you guys as the two stoic assholes I know. It's cool to break through and like have a conversation. I'm serious. I said to Mike, I had dinner with Mike and I was like, I think I can talk to Tim, but Kyle, like, I don't know if he likes me. This is so he talks to me at Investor Club. This is bad.
I've only been there twice.
Within the last hour, you're like, oh, Tim, that fucking asshole that just sits there and doesn't talk to anyone like he doesn't like them.
I'm thinking that.
You said that.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, you said it like
No.
You'd go to dancing and you'd be like, Tim's over there all stoic.
Oh, I did.
Fuck you, I don't even like you.
I thought you meant here. No, at dancing, I was just like, I would say hi and 4 words were said. I was like, okay, he doesn't like me. Great. Sick. Move on to the next day. It's all good. But it's cool to do these things. It's cool to have conversations and get to know people. Yeah. I think you guys got something big here. This is gonna be a huge podcast. I get so jacked up for other people's success.
Well, it's funny because I think when you say big, right? I'm trying to start thinking about this differently. Not this podcast, like this idea of like,
yeah,
more like big being impactful.
Okay,
impactful to somebody on an individual basis.
Yeah,
like it's already been super helpful to Tim and I.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares if people listen?
Yeah,
it's already been big for us.
Yeah, you have people at weddings.
Like it doesn't. Like I don't fucking care if anybody listens to this. I don't listen to it.
Yeah.
There's so many stupid things we've said that like I'm gonna look back in 5 years and be like, "What the fuck did I say? That's so stupid."
I hate my voice too.
Whatever, all kinds.
I hate your voice too.
All kinds of things.
I used to say that, but now I've changed it. I hate my voice.
I sound like a flamboyant chain smoker. From when I hear it,
that drives a Subaru.
People run you off the road as a Subaru driver. The biggest change, because I used to drive the truck.
You got to do. What? You got to get like a
stop driving.
That's what I got to make. Sell it,
dude. You got to get like a little hitch on that thing and hang a pair of balls on the back of that thing. Change your straighten the image.
It's the best purchase I've ever made. I love that thing, but man, the hate. You're either come on, say what you want to say.
No, just
drop it.
We got to get you some different purchases.
Yeah, I guess so.
No, it's so fine. Funny. I get it. I had a Subaru I drove one around for a while, and it was a fun little car. But
Crosstrek.
It was a Forester.
Nice.
Yeah, the car ripped.
Yeah,
it was a turbocharged Forester. The thing hauled ass.
Dang.
It came that way.
Yeah. You didn't soup it up. Kids love souping it up.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, guys that say their biggest fear is not getting married and having kids, and they talk about how they love driving their Subaru.
Right.
It's hey, the ladies love it. I don't know what else I'd like drive around.
I've nothing against Subarus. They're very practical cars. Four-wheel drive, they make complete sense.
Yeah.
They get a bad rep.
Redriving.
Ford pickup.
Nice. And you got the truck.
Yeah, well, the truck's the kind of,
part-time.
Spring, summer, fall.
Yep. Windows down.
Yeah. Good weather truck.
Yeah.
The Subarus are so good in the winter.
Are they?
Oh, yeah.
I haven't tested it yet. I just got it.
They're freaking awesome in the snow. Oh yeah.
I love it.
They're great.
I love it.
Yeah.
My truck was
because they're so lightweight. They're balanced.
Yeah. All wheel.
Yep.
All wheel deal. Nice.
Yeah. Well, let's wrap it up.
Okay.
We got any plans for dinner?
I made quesadillas last night. Allison and I had our like annual meeting. I made them quesadillas with our accountant. So it's just the leftovers. I do rice every Saturday. Go nuts. So I quickly
Rice and beer on Saturdays.
rice and beer. I stick to a strict paleo diet during the week, and then Saturday for the entire day is like a let loose. So I eat whatever the fuck I want.
All right. Well, we're gonna go to dinner. You're more than welcome.
Well, where are you going?
We're gonna go to Ale Works.
I love Ale Works.
Let's go.
All right.
Okay,
Let's wrap it up.
let's do it, boys.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate you.